Welcome back to the party, everybody. Happy Halloween. How are we doing tonight? I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Welcome to a very, very special episode. I'm very excited for this one. I am very excited for this one. Real quick, just want to give a shout out to the replay gang, those of you out trick-or-treating. Thank you for coming back to check this episode out. You are going to have a good time, but it is never as fun unless you are here live. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, set notifications to all. That way you never, ever miss a party. Also, real quick, struggle streaming. I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the stream, mysickshirt.com. Oh, looks like we got a 15% off everything promotion going on right now. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus merch. Only at mysickshirt.com. All right, what is going on, everybody? This is the one. This is the one. I've been waiting. But tonight, we are doing it. We are going over the greatest lie ever told, George Floyd, and the rise of BLM. So, if you're not familiar, the Daily Wire just put out a documentary by Candace Owens, and it's I actually haven't heard too much about it, but it's called "The Greatest Lie Ever Told: George Floyd and the Rise of BLM." And from what I know, it's her exposing the financial trying not to curse early. The financial fraud, let's just put it that way, the financial fraud of the leadership of the BLM organization and what was going on. So before we get into the actual documentary, I don't know. Hey, we got Divining Rod in the building. It says Happy All Hallows Eve. And don't forget the ones that came before you. Tomorrow, Day of the Dead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly. And that's why I want to do this one tonight where, we might not have as many people here live. I know people are out partying. If you got kids, you're out doing the trick-or-treating thing. But this is going to be one that is going to have some lasting value. So before we get into the documentary, I want to be crystal clear about a couple of things. Number one, it is not okay that George Floyd died. I'm just going to say that again. Number one, it is not okay that George Floyd died. Number two, I am not looking to take sides. I am not looking to prove anybody right or prove anybody wrong. And this is a sensitive topic. It's a sensitive subject, and it's hard to know what's true and what's not. So what we're doing is going through and reacting to the documentary as it is. If there are things in the documentary that are not accurate, that are fake news, disinformation, any of that kind of stuff, then we can discuss that. But I am not claiming to be an expert on anything. We're just watching a movie, and I'm giving my thoughts. So with that said, let's dive right in. And of course, you guys know the sound on StreamYard can sometimes not go through. So if you can hear the video, please do let me know. Ooh. So also, we are watching this in its entirety. I believe it falls under fair use because I'm going to be stopping it and giving my commentary. But I understand how there's many of you who may decide to watch this and not ever go and pay the Daily Wire. So I want to give a shout out to them, thank them, and encourage you to go support their platform. But fair use.
The motherboard box. Once you take it out of the anti-static bag.
Whoa. What the hell happened to that? Take two. Oh, that's why. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Hold on. Struggle streaming. All right, we got this. All right. Are we ready? Are you ready? Thank you, sir. Let's do it.
Place it on the top of the motherboard box. But
I said, let's do it. There. So that's how it all began. Counterfeit $20 bill.
Gentlemen. The driver in
I've
there?
seen this footage.
That one over there. Which one? Step out and face away. Please don't shoot me, Mr. Officer. Please. Don't shoot me, man. Step out and face away.
Hey, we got Indy Bill in the building. What is good, brother? What is going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are watching the Daily Wire documentary, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold. Oh, come on. Why isn't this working? My play button's not working. Oh, my mouse.
Okay, please, man. Please. I didn't know, man. I didn't know, bro. I didn't know. Hey, you come back. Stay in the car. Stop resisting, man. Yes, you are. I can't breathe. Well, you got it down, man. Let me breathe, Lee, man. Just breathe. I've been trying to help out. So you got to breathe.
The cell phone video seen around the world, eh?
I have decided to do this video. It has been weighing very heavily on my heart. I want to come out and say that I do not support George Floyd and the media depiction of him as a martyr for Black America. I'm going to explain why, and I hope that some of you guys will understand where I'm coming from. I want to be clear, this is not a defense for Derek Chauvin. I hope Derek Chauvin gets the justice that he deserves to be implemented upon him, and that the family of George Floyd deserves justice.
Okay, interview tape 2.
Candace
It was just
Owens
gut
in the
instinct,
building.
you know. It just felt like we were being told, look over here, and I guess part of my personality is when I feel that way and somebody's going, focus only here, I want to know, okay, but what about over there? And it wasn't personal, at least not in the beginning. It wasn't personal. I would say it certainly wasn't personal until.
This video was just so disgusting, but I think it's important to understand how easily people can be corrupted into saying this type of disgusting nonsense.
Candace Owens, that rotten bitch. If anybody's going to pretend to get their feelings hurt about what we say about Candace Owens, I will laugh and laugh and laugh. I don't care what this is. I don't care personally.
And why is that? Why is it that it's so easy to hurl insults at specifically Candace Owens? We're specifically supposed to be in this age where, minorities get a pass almost, where, she's not only a woman, but she's Black. And being a conservative Black person is another minority. So, hey, we got Salty Plays in the building. What is good, brother? We are just watching the greatest lie ever sold, the Rise of BLM. But yeah, it's so open season to just say whatever you want about Candace Owens, even though she is the exact person that we would say is in these marginalized groups. And I don't know why I did that, because they are marginalized, but it's almost as if her existence is flying in the face of their narrative, and so they don't like that. And that means that, she's got to go down. She can't be anything good. It's such simplistic thinking, and it's really sad.
Owens and her stinky pussy. I don't know if it stinks, but I imagine it does.
Then at that moment, it became personal. And I thought, not only am I going to say the truth, I am going to scream the truth louder than you can scream the lies.
I've never been so
heard inside this was the second time he exhibited that behavior.
23 out of 24 hours in the
I
city.
have been a police officer for almost 4 decades.
Until the very breath was squeezed out.
That was the very last time I seen Floyd. You sentenced my son. You will also be sentenced
Every day. Every day.
The greatest lie ever sold.
Leslie Best. Who was George Floyd?
Outside this grocery store is now home for a memorial.
We protest peacefully, kind of just helping each other out and rallying together as a community.
We need to stand together with each other.
We're here to serve justice for injustice.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Breaking news in South Minneapolis. The situation has become dangerous.
Individuals reaching the gate at the third precinct.
Getting close to crossing the fence. Everyone copy that?
Third precinct has been compromised.
So far, we're obviously getting a lot of imagery that's supposed to evoke emotion from us. That's the other thing I wanted to say before we began, that I am very aware of what the Daily Wire is, who Candace Owens is, what their political leanings are, what their opinions are on the case, what their opinions are on Black Lives. I'm well aware of all of that. I understand that documentaries are meant to tell a story. This is not a news report. It is a documentary. So I understand that as we go through, I am reacting to what we are watching, not, you know, and whatever happens to already be in my brain, not anything else.
They're about to breach the back gate. They're taking heavy line.
Third precinct is up in flames.
Minneapolis is waking up to a lot of its buildings on fire.
You saw chaos just erupt.
Fires are still burning.
We are seeing looting throughout the city.
Bricks are being thrown at police officers. We are seeing increasing violence amongst protesters throughout the country.
Cities are erupting into chaos and violence.
How long can you be peaceful when your people are dying?
We're out here.
I mean, has anybody not seen this? Like, has anybody not seen the extent to which the all of the riots and stuff over the last 2 summers really were? I know that there's people who haven't. Hey, we got no freedom. Said, wait, is that the woman who wants to be white? No, that's Rachel Dole. Wait, wants to be white? What do you mean? Who wants to be white? No, that's Candace Owens. What was I saying? I don't remember. Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. Thank you, Mr. Pliskin. Welcome, and thank you for bringing my thought back. So, yeah, I know there's a lot of people who maybe saw that stuff like that happen, but the extent to which it happened and the reasoning behind a lot of times why it happened. The fact, I know it's such an easy go-to, but the fact that CNN had a chyron that said fiery but mostly peaceful protest. Like, what? Hello. Where is he? He was just sitting on my lap, and he was doing well already. I don't know where he's probably down there. Oh, there he is. He says hello. He says hello.
Over the last 5 or 6 years for us to turn criminals into heroes overnight. And it is something that I find to be despicable, and it's something that I refuse to stand by any longer, and I'm not going to play a part in it, no matter how much pressure comes from Black liberals and Black conservatives as some token of people wanting you to believe that this is the...
So this is from, oh, I thought it was going to say 2012. Does it have a date on here? No, never mind.
The only way you can be Black is you have to say this was wrong and that this person was amazing. I won't do that. Why are we pretending that this criminal should be upheld as a citizen, as a martyr in Black America? A martyr for a fake narrative, by the way.
People were shocked, right? They had all thrown themselves in emotionally.
Well, remember, this is what I just got done saying, that we're aware that what a documentary is. A documentary has a story, has a perspective. It's not a news report, even if, news today is just as bad. This is supposed to be biased. This is supposed to have a message. This is supposed to be trying to get you to think something. And that's okay. We can acknowledge that and watch that for what it is.
Based on the media narrative. And they just sort of thought, how could the media not have told us this? So right now I am researching Alvin and Teresa Scott. They were George Floyd's last known roommates. And we basically just had producers reach out and say, working on a documentary pertaining to George Floyd. That was kind of the only information that we gave them, in the hopes that saying my name would not scare them away. At least from what I'm doing a cursory search, there does not seem to be too much coverage on the roommates. Some pieces pertaining to how they were feeling during the trial, some international coverage, but I definitely don't remember these people being at the forefront. And he lived with them for over 3 years. So it'll be really interesting to see what they have to say if they speak to me and don't slam a door in my face. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, Divinerod says there was a recent report on a pew-pewing at a funeral, and they used neighborhood group dispute instead of the word gang. I think that is a huge part of what we're digging into is media framing. And I just dropped a video. I saw an article about some Rona stuff. But the framing of how this stuff goes down, and when it's on one side, it's the worst thing in the world, but it's the other side, it's a neighborhood group dispute. It's I think that's going to be a lot of what we're getting into. Freedom says, yeah, sadly I can't watch anything she puts out. She's the type of people, well, I mean, fair enough. Who's word salad? Me? What are you talking about?
Hello, Alvin Monego and George Floyd's previous roommate prior to his death. This is our house, and give you a little walkthrough and tell you a little bit about our relationship, me and Floyd. So, okay.
Well, we still keep his name on the mailbox, just still gets mail, okay?
Yeah, and this is us on the 4th of July, 2017. And these are our co-workers. We both work together at the Conga Lounge in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that's Floyd right here. And they never forgot him because he was a people person. He socialized, and the kids was always looking up like, wow, the guy's pretty tall. Floyd's about 6'7". So we can head upstairs and I'll show you where Floyd's room was. Eventually we were roommates, but when I first moved here, it was just me and Floyd, and Teresa later on moved in with us. And this was his room, much bigger, the biggest room in the house, and he's a big guy. So he always enjoyed it. The difference was like he had a desk right here. And the only thing he always kept right there was either his Bible, and he smoked cigarettes, and that was the only thing you seen on his desk. There's some good moments here. It was like we lived together almost, I guess it was about 4.5 years, almost 5.
So I mean, we have to at first, give credit for the fact that they are. Oh, gotcha. The fact that they, being Daily Wire and Candace Owens, are talking to people who are going to humanize George Floyd, when clearly that is not going to help their narrative that he shouldn't be upheld as some kind of hero or martyr. So credit where credit is due.
Yeah. Him and Teresa often read the Bible together, and that was
all of these is what he did. Like he got Proverbs marked right here. He used to read this all the time. Let me see, what else did he read? He read Matthews right here. And so he used to be in his room.
Do I want to comment on the fact? I don't. It's whatever. Forget I said
our room was next door. And I used to hear him out loud reading his Bible all the time. And I used to be listening to him. And I'm like, wow, he really do be reading that Bible, The last day I seen Floyd, we stood up here on the top of the stairs. And this time we prayed longer than we ever did. I think we prayed for like about 5 or 8 minutes. Usually we'll do a prayer and it's like quick and everything. But this day we prayed longer than we ever prayed.
How'd that
And
work?
I said, Floyd, I'll see you when you get back, okay? He said, T, I'll be back. I said, promise me you coming back. He said, I promise I'll be back. And that was
but prayer works, right?
The last time I seen him. That was the very last time I seen Floyd, that day when we prayed upstairs. And I didn't see him no more after that.
To be fair, this is obviously not very recent. I mean, the documentary itself was only released last month, I think. And yep, and that wasn't a shot at George Floyd specifically, even though there are shots to be taken, but that was a shot at religion. But yeah, this is very likely taken when masks were still a thing. So, you got a camera crew and people coming into your house. That's not a big deal to me.
Hello, how are you? Hi, very nice to meet you, Alvin. Hey, Teresa, how are you? How you doing? So you guys, in many ways, were some of the people that were the closest to him.
Yes.
And I don't remember seeing your faces on the news or anybody talking to you. So I guess let's just start with that.
I wonder why that is.
When was the first time you met George?
Oh, well, I first met him in 2017. We ended up knowing each other. He was in the treatment center, and I actually was there too. But I was there for the alcohol. And, he was having problems with the painkillers. So when we met, we was unaware that this was, we both was in the same situation.
So you guys met, and you figured out that you were going to the same treatment center, and I think did that probably establish an instant connection between you two?
During that time, you talk about a lot of things that led you to where you were, and you get an idea of who the persons that are around you, more one-on-one. And he was real open about, things he was going through and what he wanted to be. And his whole dream was to get his life together, and have a good job and be able to take care of his daughter as well as his family.
He wants a fresh start, and he wanted to do better, and he happens to run into you, and this is a beautiful home.
The Floyd that I knew in this house was a good person. And if he did do something bad.
So wait, what exactly are you guys saying didn't happen? Because I mean, the guy clearly died. I mean, is that a conspiracy theory out there that George Floyd never died? Where are you guys at with that? I don't know what you're talking about.
He hid it from us. He didn't do it around us. If he did it out there, he did it out there. That's his business. It's not mine.
Addiction is hard.
Yes.
It's full stop hard.
Right.
But family is different. It's a different part of them, and so the struggles that they're maybe facing out on the street is just not something that they ever want to bring to their doormat,
And that was Floyd. I mean, if he did have addiction out there, he left it in the streets. He never brought it home.
Sometimes the little urge to get something stronger to kill the pain.
Terrible joke.
Took over, but he always fought against that.
He was talking to me. He said, T. He said, I do whatever the police tells me to do. He said, because they looking to kill.
Hey, we got Douglas Edwards in the building. Welcome back. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Divine Rod was saying treatment equals pill mill. No, I just think treatment meaning, like substance abuse treatment. They're saying he obviously he died of a fentanyl overdose. And he was a drug addict. So that makes it makes sense that that's what they would be talking about. Freedom says this is part of the stuff you don't see on a daily basis like I do. I deal with a lot of idiots. What's this? This is part of the stuff. What is part of the stuff? Shout out to Doug. Word up. New railroad gig. I heard those pay well. And yep. Yeah. He exactly. So yeah, I'm not sure what you guys are saying. Number one is the false flag, and then No Freedom's not sure you were talking about what is part of the stuff that I don't see. If you guys want to clear that up, but moving on.
A big brother like me.
Yeah.
He said that out of his own words. He said because a big end like me. He said they looking to kill a big brother like me, and sure enough, that's what happened.
It was kind of
like
eerie when it happened.
Yeah, it's just because you were big. It had nothing to do with the fact that, you passed a counterfeit $20 bill, that you got in the car with a drug dealer, that you resisted arrest, all of that stuff. All of that stuff. Counterfeit 20 when Americans that stole millions and almost got no jail time. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to result to you. You are the expert there.
That was one of his fears.
Yep, that was one of his
That's
fears.
interesting though, because what you're saying is that so that night he did whatever he was supposed to, whatever they told him to do, because he knew
He
that
know that they was
non-compliant would
intimidated
end
by
really
him
bad.
because he was so big.
And I'm sure that officer probably knows that ran his license. You know, they got it in the computer.
But what about, do you think that if he had complied, because I'm sure you guys have seen the full tape by now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you must be thinking, woulda, coulda, shoulda, if he had that mentality going into it, let me just do what they're saying. And, because it's just such an escalation when you see the full tape of, yeah, he's not, maybe because he's not feeling too good, but yeah. And then he's like, put me on the ground. When he says, put me on the ground.
This is an important point too. It's saying, contrary to popular media depiction, it was George Floyd himself who asked to be put on the ground. And again, what we're doing here is not trying to make fun of anybody or anything like that. We're looking for the truth. We're looking to understand the world as it is, and this incident sparked a lot. So the reality of what happened is extremely important. And I don't think most people even know that it was George Floyd himself who asked to be put on the ground, taken out of the car and put on the ground. Why? I mean, that's left up to interpretation. Makes a lot of sense that he was bugging out, that he was going to get arrested, that he was on drugs, that he was scared of not being on drugs, because if you're on drugs and you go to jail, guess what they don't have there? Drugs. And you know what happens when you're on those kind of drugs and then you don't take those kind of drugs? It is not fun. You will do literally anything to avoid it. I'm gonna let you guys talk to yourselves. Red flag. Officer knew who he was. Yep. My local cops don't know me either. Yeah, definite red flag.
You ever look at it and go, man, I wish that time he had taken his own advice and just been like, okay, guys, take me wherever you want to take me. Yes. Do you think that a lot of people maybe came out of the woodwork because there was an opportunity, to grandstand, to be on stage, to...
Damn, I got 2 likes on the video. Can we get to 5? I don't think that's too much to ask, right?
A lot of money got thrown around, which is part of what I'm exploring in this documentary. I mean, Black Lives Matter Global Network came out and said we raised $90 million plus, and they did this with his face. Just his face, or saying you had some association with him, could have gotten, garnered a lot of people money. Do you think that people took advantage of him?
It's like they use it as what you say, a way of funding whatever they motivation was. And then at sometimes when I went to the George Floyd Memorial, it was different individuals going on there saying donations for this, for Floyd, for this, and they didn't know where it was coming from. You got a little metal box and I don't know who you are. Where is this going?
Giovanni Rod saying there is a size issue, especially with smaller cops and bigger men. Is that supposed to say? I'm gonna guess. I generally will be cuffed by LAPD if I'm having a traffic situation. Interesting. And yeah, that's exactly right. They're gonna go over this later. But talking about red flags, that's how the cops knew him, as Mr. Poskin is saying, is that they've arrested him before. It's doesn't happen to most of us who just go about our lives. And even if we have done illegal shit, I've done illegal shit. I've been arrested before, but the cops don't fucking know who I am.
to meet with the president and the vice president, and for them to show their concern to our family, and for them to actually give an ear to our concerns and how we feel on the situation.
I know I have to be strong because that's what he would want me to do.
Wow.
I never met a sister. I never met a...
None of those people, of course, all the people who want all the attention, never were part of it. They were never a part of his life. It was just a way for them to get attention. I got a small scale of this when my boy Akon died. Those of you, I think most of you would know, but my best friend, 23 years old, died in a motorcycle accident, and he was a super popular guy. So there was so many people who wanted sympathy from me. It was my best friend, somebody I hung out with all day, every day. And then other people who would see him at the bar and he would buy them a shot, or they, smoke every once in a while together. They would come to me as if it's my job to make them feel better. It's like, hold up. Why aren't you trying to make me feel better? Oh, because this is, not that it's not upsetting, but read the room. Read the room. People will take anything and flip it back on themselves. You could tell. Even at that time. This was 2013. So social media was definitely a thing. It's not nearly as bad as it is now. It was only 7 years ago. Thank you, brother. Thank you. 7, 8, 9, whatever. Damn, almost 10 years ago already. Damn. But point being, taking pictures with me, taking pictures with those of us who would go out and celebrate him, coming along and globbing onto that for the social credit. I can see that seems to be exactly what happened here. Exactly. Let's take a shout out to the one and only Akon. The singer stole his name. Thank you, gentlemen.
Brother, none of them ever came here. If Floyd been living in this house. We've been in this house going on 6 years, am I right?
Yeah. But for the 4 years, no.
It is funny how she's the only one wearing a mask.
They never wanted his stuff. I would think that if my
they didn't
son,
even come and look
daughter,
and see where the man lived at. They never came to see where Floyd lived. They never came to get none of his stuff. Nothing.
That was my oldest brother. I love him. I'm never going to get my brother back.
And see, that doesn't mean that this guy is not sad. But I would also feel some type of way if I was those roommates. If you were so sad, why weren't you in his life before? But then again, if he was into drugs and all this stuff, maybe that's why his family wasn't as close to him. And maybe they were very sad, but they knew that this was probably an inevitability. That something like this would happen. Just a guess.
I would like to just say one day this meet his daughter, because it's like that's an extension of him.
Right.
And I just to be proud to just see one
Not his
time.
daughter now. We found out he got more.
Well, they found out that wasn't true.
So you mean 3 kids came that ain't his?
This one, I think they did a DNA check, and the boy's not his, another girl.
Are you serious?
Rumors, I don't know.
yes, that's gotta leave that to Maury. I don't do that. I don't do paternity. That's Maury's stuff. That's all we do.
Hold on.
Now it's going.
You guys, thank you so much. It was what a pleasure to sit here and talk to you guys. It was just absolutely amazing.
Oh, Jesus.
You imagine how absolutely traumatized that child was. And then you think to yourself, just a few years later, and you will have children that are wearing his shirt, referring to him as a hero, as some sort of savior, right?
I mean,
That's wrong.
What else? What
It's not
else
right
to
at
add
all.
to that?
And it was this case that I couldn't stay quiet on, and I had to make that video.
In 1998, he spent 10 months in prison for theft with a firearm. In 2002, he spent 8 months in prison for a cocaine offense. In 2004, just 2 years later, he spent another 10 months in prison for a cocaine offense. By the way, I am not saying that if you have a record, you don't deserve a second chance. I do draw the line when it comes to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth chances.
Two things can be true at once. You can both say that George Floyd didn't deserve to die, no matter how you believe he died. Nobody deserves to die, in my opinion. And you can also say that objectively, this person that did die was not a saint. This person was not an angel.
Fair. Completely fair. I think that, we make it so binary. And you either have to be on one extreme or the other. You have to either think, oh, this person deserved it because they had a criminal record, or it doesn't matter, and none of that matters, yeah, classic example of a rap sheet. But nuance is all we need. Two things can be true at the same time. He didn't deserve to die, but also he was not a saint. Doesn't seem controversial to me at all.
Okay, so my producer just sent me a link and a minute mark for George Floyd's 2019 arrest, which I haven't seen, so I'm about to watch it for the first time.
So am I.
Okay, no. Floyd, come on out.
That's interesting. Because that was a relatively big part of the story, is that he was calling out for his mom. He's not dying here. Seems like it just, certainly being arrested is not fun, but doesn't look like his life is in danger here. Calling out for his mom. Just saying. Vinerod said, no, if there are title pages, read them for two reasons. One, it will break up the video and give you better fair use merit. Second, got you. So let's just back that up then. Where did it? So she basically just said, so it says in 2007, a woman named Araceli Henriquez received a knock at her door from a 6'6" man in a blue uniform, saying that he was from the water department. When she opened the door, he and several other men forced their way into the home, pistol whipped her, and ransacked her kitchen cabinets, children's closets, and drawers before fleeing. The 6'6" man in the blue uniform was later identified as George Floyd by a 7-year-old son who was present throughout the attack.
You imagine how absolutely traumatized that child was.
So that's what she's saying when being traumatized. But yeah, Mike W with a great point. Big binary thinking is a big problem when you are trying to come to truth. Truth is not as simple as we want to make it. It's complex and it's nuanced.
And then you think to yourself, that I could
in prison for a cocaine.
I do that objectively. This person that did die was not a saint. This person was not an angel. Okay, so my producer just sent me a link and a minute mark for George Floyd's 2019 arrest, which I haven't seen, so I'm about to watch it for the first time.
Damn, only one of you like that video? Can I get one more like? Just one?
Okay, no. Floyd, come on out.
No, we're calling out for his mom. Oh, my mom, man.
Come on.
Okay, this is super interesting because he's saying mama again. And obviously, I know that throughout the trial, his girlfriend testified that he calls her mama. And the media made such a big deal saying that.
I forgot about that. So that's 2 degrees of nuance. From we have a man who's crying out at with his last breaths for his mother, to, well, he calls his girlfriend mama. And, well, he also did this the last time he got arrested.
When he died, he cried out for his mama, and they clearly misinterpreted that because this is a 2019 arrest. He's once again saying, I want mama. So that seems pretty clear that he's talking about his girlfriend, and he's not crying out for his mother, which was a nice victim narrative.
You and Floyd, Mr. Floyd, excuse me, I'm assuming like most couples.
Hey, we got Mike Mushroom in the building. Says, is this controversial in here? There's only 2 genders, and Ukraine has a journalist hit list. Nope, you are in the right place. Welcome, Mike. Welcome. We are going over the George Floyd BLM documentary.
Had pet names for each other.
Yeah.
And what were you saved in his phone as?
So this is the girlfriend.
Mama.
Oh, snap!
What's crazy in the retrospect is to realize that everybody reacted. Nobody knew who George Floyd was, but also nobody knew who Derek Chauvin was.
Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know that I... So, March 17th, 2022, Candace spoke with Derek Chauvin's mother, asking her to add her voice... asking her to add her voice to the documentary.
Literally nothing. Like, I mean, my heart breaks for her, obviously, like hearing, like, she's obviously just devastated, but she's being told by his lawyer to say absolutely nothing. So she's not going to come on camera. She's not going to participate. He's not going to come on camera or participate because they have a pending appeal. And my frustration and what I expressed to her is I'm just like, so your strategy for the appeal is the same thing that your strategy was during the entire trial. Silence. Allow the media to tell the story. And I said
that's a fantastic point. That's a really good point. There was a lot of testimony on the behalf of the state where they talked about, like, one of the big things that I remember was one of the expert witnesses on behalf of it might have been on behalf of this, behalf of the state, said that Chauvin was justified in using lethal force, and he didn't. Seems like that's something that if it didn't get around the first time, you might want to get out the second time. Now, I do understand how you would want to just not talk to anybody because you don't know what they're going to cut up and so on and so forth. But, like, it's the Daily Wire. I mean, when it comes to this specific incident, you kind of know where they stand. They're not gonna juke you out, but who knows? But
I literally said, I said, this might be the only opportunity that you guys have, right? You've already lost in the court of public opinion. So how is it going to hurt you?
By far. So in the poll that I did here, 66% of you said Chauvin wasn't guilty. But I specifically didn't put what guilty of. I definitely think he, there's misconduct there, but certainly it wasn't murder.
Lost, right? How's it going to hurt you to allow his voice to be heard and to tell the story from his side? Nothing. Like, the lawyer's running the show, and to be honest, I think it's the worst strategy. There's just no way he's going to win in the court of public opinion by saying nothing, like, super frustrating, but that's a dead end, so. I can't imagine raising up a child and loving a child and knowing who he is and watching the media in virtually minutes be able to strip that person of their identity and to create a new identity for them. I felt her pain. I did. I felt her.
That seemed almost a little bit backhanded. I can't even imagine if I was in her position, I definitely would have been in this documentary. But, maybe she just doesn't care about her child. But I totally feel her pain. Seemed a little backhanded, just saying.
And I felt that the only thing we could offer to do was to expand on who Derek Chauvin actually was. People were taking a picture, not even a picture, a still from a video, and saying, Satan, this is Satan.
So it's
people were.
It showed the picture of like a still from the video of Chauvin and what did it say? What did it say?
Not even a picture, a still from a video. And
so it's got the famous picture. It says the look in Derek Chauvin's eyes was something worse than hate.
Saying, Satan, this is your Satan. People were taking
facts, Mr.
a storyline that was given to them from the media and saying, here it is, George Floyd, he's your hero. That's it. That's the story. The end. It's insane.
All right, on to Officer Derek Chauvin.
You know Derek Chauvin.
I do. I was a Minneapolis police officer for 31 years.
Is it the same Derek Chauvin that the media has introduced the world to?
Not at all. Derek is quiet, somewhat quirky, not a big guy, very dependable, shows up to work every day. Derek is the kind of guy that you want to show up on your calls with you. He's very level-headed.
Derek, when I first supervised Derek, I was a sergeant and I was running a unit for Homeland Security. Derek got assigned onto my unit, and at the time he was living with his mom, which I thought was admirable that he wanted to help take care of his mom.
Derek is a quiet, thoughtful,
his mother,
honorable, and selfless man. He has a big heart, and he always has put others before his own.
He was kind of a guy that was a little more of a loner. Some probably would have considered him socially awkward.
You described him as quirky, and somebody else kind of described him in that same way. What do you mean by that?
Kind of quiet, introverted. Sometimes he wears his uniform pants a little high on his boots. Just that way.
Maybe not the quarter.
So that says to me, that little thing he wears this, that he's a square, and that he's probably the type of person who's gonna love the power of being in. God damn it, you fucking piece of shit. A power position. Oh yeah, let me try this this Nightbot thing. Let's see if this is working. Hold on. That I don't know if it'll work, but let's see. But yeah, that's even the fact that he is a little bit of a square already is starting already to paint a little bit of a picture. Mike says the media makes out every white person. The media makes out every white person as if they killed a black person. Is that what you're trying to say? But yeah, it's bad.
Quarterback of the football team.
Not the quarterback of the football team.
Okay. Did he ever have any issues with other police officers? Was there ever any signs that he was particularly violent or had issues with people because of their skin color?
No, never. No, that is not the Derek I knew. Mm-mm. And I don't believe what people are saying. It's made up. It's not true.
When you sentence my son, you will also be sentencing me. Plus the fact that when he is released, his father and I most likely will not be here.
Where's Derek today?
Derek is at Oak Park Heights Prison. He sits in a cell for 24 hours a day.
Damn.
He does not have any reading materials, no TV, no computer, no nothing. He just sits in the cell. And that's it. You sit and look at the four walls in your cell every single day.
What was your initial reaction when you saw that video in terms of looking up and seeing, hey, that's Derek Chauvin, I know that guy?
He's somebody that would be hard to read for most people, but a nice guy.
So when you looked up at his face, you didn't see a monster. You just saw Derek looking as Derek has always looked, and the media perhaps reading into it.
They read into something that was not there. That is not the Derek that I knew. All of our department was painted with that same brush, which is unfair, and it's a lot of false narratives.
Well, but also, like you would say that. What, you're the worst person to make this case, because even, you know, the worst serial killers, their parents still see them as their children. So this isn't really doing much.
Because we have a good department.
And we heard earlier that he
Ironically, the part about George Floyd and humanizing him seemed to be a lot more effective, at least for me and the way that I'm looking at things. So
he is spending 23 hours a day in solitary confinement. Do you ever think about his mental state?
Every day. Every day.
You don't wish that on anybody. There's an incredible amount of stress in the job alone. More or less, if somebody dies in your custody, that's about the worst thing that you can go through as a person and a police officer.
George Floyd was a semi-regular customer. He'd come around not so often, but he was someone we'd recognize, and he'd come here maybe.
This is the owner of the place that he used the counterfeit 20.
Pay his phone bill or get phone services. So anytime a customer brings a counterfeit bill, and you see we have plenty of them, we tell them, hey, this is counterfeit. If the customer insists, then we call the police, and the police has to ask them where they got it from. And that really has ever happened. In my experience here, whenever we tell a customer that the bill is counterfeit, they immediately leave because they don't want to be involved with it. Just from our experience, there's some good ones, but a lot of times we know right away that they're fake just because of the way they have the color disfiguration, or the way they feel, the way they look. So usually we don't call the police on counterfeit money because when we tell the customer that it's fake, they accept the fact and just leave. When he came in the store, he was with a friend of his. The friend of his was paying for some electronics repair, and all of the money he had was counterfeit. Because we knew the person, we told him, hey, we're not going to call the police. Just take this money back and don't bring it back here again. And then a few minutes later,
again, saying, because we knew this person, this is somebody who was known by multiple people in the community. So it's not like, again, I mean, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but he was not just, you know, some innocent guy. Mike says, correction. When a white cop kills a black person, it's automatically racism in the eyes of the media. They never figure out the true motive. Yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy. All you got to do, they probably, like, yes, we don't even have to think about stories tonight. We could just talk about this one thing and run through all the same racism stories we've been going for the last 5 years. It's too easy. And people eat it the fuck up. People eat it up. So why wouldn't they? I mean, you know, maybe if they had some values. But monetarily speaking, it makes too much sense to pick the low-hanging fruit. That's why we're here, to do better.
later, George Floyd made a purchase in the tobacco shop with a counterfeit bill, and the employee then called the police. They arrived about 45 minutes later and found George Floyd in his car, and that's when they approached him.
Hey, man. Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand. I'm sorry.
Dr. Ron Martinelli.
Already, as soon as, I'm sorry. Like, bro, slow down. That's going to put any cop on the defensive. And that was, if that was the beginning of the encounter. I mean, you know, I've watched all the footage, but it's been years, and there's been so many other incidents that have gone on. I don't remember, you know, exactly what happened minute to minute, wire to wire. It's like he never stood a chance.
Forensic criminologist and certified medical investigator and police practices expert. Let me just preface this. You know, I have no dog in the fight here, all right? We classically get a lot of officer-involved shootings and in-custody deaths, but we take them from all sides. So my advocacy is for facts and evidence, not for people or entities. So if the officers are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
So this guy is claiming, at least, to, even though he works with the police, that he's not some type of, you know, we know how the back the blue, the thin blue line. He's trying to express, that ain't me. I don't have a dog in this fight.
as they were trained to do it. I'm going to tell you. If they're not, I'm also going to tell you that.
What was your assessment of the police behavior in seeing the full video and seeing how things played out?
They made contact with Mr. Floyd, and that is totally appropriate because they're investigating a third person's report of criminality.
Not moving. Not do nothing. Put your head behind your back then. Not do nothing. Stop resisting, man. Stand up. Please, man. Stand up. Why are you doing like this? Stand up. Come on. We're trying to get out of the street here so you don't get hit by a car.
So for the officers, what they have to do is they have to begin an investigation to ask him probative questions, seeking more evidence to determine whether a crime has occurred.
All right, what's your name? George. We're here because it sounds like you gave a fake bill to the individuals in there. Yeah.
So once they put the handcuffs on Mr. Floyd should have known, albeit he's under the influence of drugs,
Ouch, man. You want something right now? No, nothing, because you acting real erratic.
that he must obey the officer's directions, orders, and commands. He cannot resist arrest.
I hear you, but you're going to face this door right now. Listen up, stop. Oh, wait a minute, man. Please don't take a seat. I'm going in. No, you're not.
And so when Mr. Floyd gets in the car and he claims that he's claustrophobic.
Right. Claustrophobic is exactly what he said.
No, I'm not claustrophobic. I'm just claustrophobic. That's it.
I think if I was an officer, I'd be saying, wait a minute, you showed up in a car. You wouldn't get in a car if you...
I literally never even put that together. I never even thought of the fact that, bro, you were just in a car. What do you mean you're claustrophobic? This is a bigger car than you just got out of. That never even occurred to me. Never even occurred to me. If you guys are just joining, welcome to the party. I am your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. We are going through the BLM George Floyd documentary from the Daily Wire and Candace Owens. And if you could hit that like button on your way in, or if you're on your way out, if you don't like it, I would really appreciate it. Even if you don't enjoy it, it's free. Just hit the button.
You thought you were claustrophobic. The officer's placed him in a position that's referred to as the maximum restraint position. In other words, he's prone, stomach down, on the ground.
On March 8th, 2021, the Minnesota versus Derek Chauvin trial began.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. We plan to prove to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Mr. Chauvin was anything other than innocent. On May 25th of 2020, Mr. Derek Chauvin used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd until the very breath. No, ladies and gentlemen, until the very life.
That is such a damning photo. It's such a damning photo. Like, I mean, regardless of the facts of the case, this looks so bad. And obviously, this is why it turned into what it did. But it looks so bad. Like says, remember when Nancy Pelosi prayed to Floyd and thanked him for his sacrifice? Yeah, that was cringe. Yep, that again, going back to the eye contact, definitely a red flag. And yeah, whatever you think of the you know, in hindsight, now having all the body cam footage, having seen the trial, all of that, that looks bad.
We're squeezed out of it.
In the widely circulated video taken by a bystander, the camera angle suggests Derek Chauvin kneeled on George Floyd's neck the whole time.
You would agree, Chief, that from the perspective of Miss Frazier's camera, it appears that Officer Chauvin's knee is on the neck of Mr. Floyd.
Yes.
Would you agree that from the perspective of Officer King's body camera, it appears that Officer Chauvin's knee was more on Mr. Floyd's shoulder blade?
So this is the other angle. We can see here that the knee is on the shoulder and the neck. You can see part of his neck here. Whether or not he was in this position the whole time or not is well, he wasn't in this position the whole time. But this is a lot of the later body cam footage that was released after the media circus had begun. So I'm going to keep this up while I type up this this poll, and the poll is about this image. Is his knee on? All right.
Yes. They had to have the jury believe that it was a neck restraint, it was the knee on the neck, it was...
Of Officer King's body camera, it appears that Officer Chauvin's knee was more on Mr. Floyd's shoulder blade.
Yes. They had to have the jury believe that it was a neck restraint, it was the knee on the neck, it was asphyxiation that killed George Floyd. However, there was a ton of evidence that George Floyd consumed a toxic, lethal cocktail of fentanyl and methamphetamine.
Did it appear that Mr. Floyd said, "I ate too many drugs"?
Yes. Let's put it in perspective. 3 grains of fentanyl on the head of a lead pencil, enough to kill you, enough to kill me. And so they had to continuously inculcate the public to believe that Derek Chauvin intentionally, premeditatedly murdered George Floyd, and drugs had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Mike brings up a great point here. Says, I don't think the cop should have stayed in that position. I don't think Floyd was a threat at that time. So I generally want to agree with you. I think that, again, especially with hindsight and the optics and the fact that there was people around, Floyd was the one who wanted to be out of the car. We have to remember, he's a 6'6" dude, and he is not built like me. He is much more built. So there is, fair or not, there is a level of extra caution as a cop that you would need to take. The fact is, it only takes a split second for somebody to decide that we've already seen who's going to resist arrest to do something and flip out. Yeah. So Mr. Pliskin saying he was waiting for backup. See, no issues with it. At first, that is the position. Once there's more cops there, then it doesn't make sense to me. I don't remember the Asian cop's name. But even everything that I just said about being him being big and you don't know what he can do, especially if he's on drugs, then even having 2 people there, pull your damn guns on him. Pull the damn guns. You're good there. Just don't fucking move. I don't know. Yeah, optics definitely matter. It's tough. It's tough. It's definitely not an easy case one way or the other.
As Lindsay and the toxicologist presented that awful testimony.
Do you recall describing the level of fentanyl as a fatal level of fentanyl?
I recall describing it in other circumstances. It would be a fatal level, yes.
What? Hold on. I need to hear that again.
The level of fentanyl as a fatal level of fentanyl.
I recall describing it in other circumstances. It would be a fatal level, yes.
In other circumstances, it would be a fatal dose. I don't care about other circumstances. I'm talking about this circumstance. So if it was, why would you even say that? So if it was lethal in other circumstances, then it could be lethal in this circumstance, but not necessarily, I guess. What does that mean? Does anybody know what the hell he just said?
In other circumstances. Had Mr. Floyd been home alone in his locked residence with no evidence of trauma, and the only autopsy finding was that fentanyl level, then yes, I would certify his death as due to fentanyl toxicity.
Police body cam footage also reveals George Floyd claimed that he could not breathe prior to being put on the ground.
I know I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Take a seat. I can't breathe. Come on out.
The autopsy is generally broken down by, number one, how the body is presented, and what is height.
Yeah, Mr. Pliskin, absolutely. Word salad to distract from the unfortunate answer, damaging answer. So I have to assume that that guy was working for or that was a witness, or excuse me, that witness was on the defense. Because why would you want to muddy the waters like that unless you were specifically trying to muddy the waters?
And weight is, and then it goes through neurological system, exterior trauma, interior trauma, but I go right to the cardiovascular system. And there I look at the heart weight. How much does the heart weigh? And then I take a look for key words. I compare the heart weight to the height and weight of the individual, to what the toxicology report says, and I look for certain words or evidence of something called cardiomegaly. Cardiomegaly means an enlarged heart. And if a person has cardiomegaly, their chances of sudden cardiac arrest rise by 150 times, not 150%.
So I'm going to guess, based on the music and what he's explaining, that George Floyd had a big-ass heart.
150 times. That is significant. And then we have the whole issue of the police encounter and the basal metabolic rate rising. Think about him being agitated, chaotic, excited, and his heart is pumping, pumping, pumping. There is zero empirical forensic evidence, medical evidence, of any biological mechanism, physiological mechanism that would have interfered with.
So we got this saying no life-threatening injuries identified, no injuries of anterior muscles of neck or laryngeal structures, meaning no life-threatening injuries identified from the I guess is the whatchamacallit, the not toxicology report. I can't talk today. The coroner's report. 540 grams is heavy. How much? Yeah, that they would have been nice to put an average weight of hearts. Does anybody just know what the average weight of a heart is? I mean, why not? Let's look it up. How much does the average human heart weigh? The average gross weight of heart was 289.6 grams. And women actually slightly bigger, right? Or no, they're doing different ages. So yeah, 289. And he was up here at 540. So yeah, that's a big heart. Can nobody say he didn't have a big heart?
George Floyd's ability to get sufficient oxygenated blood up into the brain. There's zero evidence of that.
There was another passenger in the vehicle, and that passenger was Mr. Floyd's drug dealer. However, he did not end up providing helpful testimony because of his own criminal liability.
Okay, and why would you not answer those?
I'm fearful of criminal charges going forward. I have open charges that's not settled yet of my personal stuff.
So basically you are invoking your Fifth Amendment right against compelled self-incrimination?
Yes, sir.
So basically, they couldn't get any meaningful testimony out of the drug dealer because he was dealing with his own charges. So he did appear and testify, but he just pled the fifth. So it says, Derek Chauvin's lawyers searched the squad car and found a partially chewed up pill. Forensic analysis of the pill revealed fentanyl and methamphetamine, as well as George Floyd's DNA.
Of chewed up pills that were found on the floor of the police car. It's very unclear to me why that evidence was not obtained earlier and presented to the jury. But I think if the jury had seen the entire picture, not only of Mr. Floyd's drug dependency, his multiple prior brushes with law enforcement, but his physical characteristics at the time of the incident and his ultimate death. Absent the interaction with the police, he could easily have died with the amount of drugs in his system with no knee on his neck or on his shoulder. And so to me, that would have suggested, if I were on that jury, reasonable doubt. But
yeah,
our system is such that a jury gets to decide that. Now, there were other factors, I think, that polluted the jury's ultimate ruling.
I thought they were going to come back. Well, I really didn't know. I really had no idea. But I thought what would have been most fair would there have, instead of, I don't remember his charges, but whatever the charges were, if they had lowered it to something like manslaughter or something like that, negligent homicide or something along those lines, instead of murder 1 or murder 2 or whatever it is that he got, then I would be much more willing to be in a position to say, yeah, this was clearly mishandled. Whatever happened, whoever was in the right or the wrong, clearly there were mistakes made. Those mistakes ended in a man dying. So something's got to give. And then later on, if we determine, if you never put yourself in that position, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because it would have been like, oh, okay, he had drugs in his system. He had a pill that had his DNA on it in the squad car. We know this. End of story.
Ultimately, the jury reached its conclusion.
I'm praying the verdict is the right verdict, which is, I think it's overwhelming in my view.
You got to get more confrontational. Make sure that they know that we mean business.
We got to get more from Maxine Waters. We got to get more confrontational. What happened after she said that? Did the riots slow down? I don't quite remember. Oh, that's right. Cities burned to the ground.
See the charge of the arresting officer take place. We are not talking about a split-second decision that was made incorrectly. I can't see coming to a different answer there. Thank you.
Damn, y'all being skimpy with the likes tonight. Hot damn.
The verdict is in the case that has riveted the nation, the trial of Derek Chauvin. The former Minneapolis police officer was found guilty today of killing George Floyd last May.
I just want to thank the prosecutors. I just want to thank God, the DNA, everybody. Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And I hope every killer cop is watching and paying attention, because today the Black Lives Matter movement served notice on you.
Okay. So it says, if you're not a Malcolm X quote, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing.
There's a viciousness, there's almost a bloodthirst when one of these cases comes around. And nobody looks back, nobody asks any questions, nobody says sorry. It's just, you are being sacrificed so we can build this temple of Black Lives Matter. And there are so many individuals who deserve to have their story told.
One such individual is local Minnesota news anchor Liz Collin, who faced a vicious mob over her marriage to Minneapolis police union head Bob Crow. Oh, Jesus.
So Liz, I want to start with you. So being an anchor and having that position, how did you juggle being married as well to a police officer in terms of covering?
An anchor? Why would you not put that on the... They just put up a text, a screen of text. Am I stupid? They didn't say anything about her being an anchor. What kind of anchor are we talking about? Why did it... Come on.
Stories. Well, I went to our management right away, before I even went on a date with Bob, as a matter of fact, to tell them that I was thinking about going on a date with this person at the time, and I said, ethically, I don't feel comfortable covering police union issues, and that was something that management was totally fine with.
So you mentioned that you were getting threats on Twitter, and I'm assuming that's where it began. Can you talk a little about what those threats were?
I think they started immediately within, I think, hours of the actual incident. They said that Bob Kroll and Liz Collin will be dead by the time the year ends. They came to the station where I worked and held a protest during the 6 o'clock news, demanding that I be fired for being...
I was just going to say, for what? For being with the... Like, the guy didn't do it. And now... Trust me, I understand that Minneapolis does not have a great record. The Minneapolis Police Department does not We're good? All right, we're good. You still with me? Shit. All right. I don't know what happened. Okay. Yeah, so basically they're just going after this lady because she is married to the police chief, the union police. It's not even him that did it. And I was saying it's not like the Minneapolis police have a great track record. But it's not like they were like great the day before and then George Floyd and then it's the same police department. It's the same exact thing.
Married to a police officer. Yeah. I'm seeing this where I worked and held a protest during the 6 o'clock news demanding that I be fired for being married to a police officer. Yeah. I'm seeing this story from so many different lenses. As a wife, as a journalist, but as a mom, I think it's where it hit me the hardest. I can imagine. The early days, I'm calling friends, hey, can you take Anthony? We have another death threat, or my parents are watching him for a few days. He doesn't know what's going on. I mean, you can't even explain this stuff to adults, nonetheless a 7-year-old child. And he happened to see a little clip of the news in the early days and said, wait a minute. So the police made a mistake and they're stealing stuff from Target? In his little mind.
I didn't hear how old the kid was. But a little kid being able to identify the disconnect. Wait, the police made a mistake? So they're stealing stuff from Target? That doesn't make sense. No, little Jimmy, it does not make sense. However, if you are an adult and people vote you into office, then you can just say, oh no, that does make sense now.
He knew that this did not make sense. This isn't okay. So this was a Black Lives Matter organized protest. 100 people were there, and we were out of town. After that happened, I sent an email to our newsroom, and I said, this seems newsworthy. There was a state rep candidate there that was beating me in effigy. They made piñatas of Bob and I dressed as Klansmen.
Wait a minute. There was a whole protest against her and her husband? First of all, a little weird that she's telling the story and not him. I don't know why, if he's the police guy, he wouldn't be at the front and center. But look at this. They have their
Our newsroom, and I said, this seems newsworthy. There was a state rep candidate there that was beating me in effigy.
They have these piñatas. Like with and a KKK thing. Who does this? Where is what are your priorities in life? If you have the time and money to go out, spend it, because you got to go order this. They don't just sell these at a party fair or whatever. So you've got to go to a place. You've got to show them these images and say, I want that. Then you've got to pay for this. Then they've all got their Bob Kroll must go shirts on. It's not even the guy. It's not even the same guy. Mike says, I remember at that time, Lego stopped making the policeman Lego kit. And they wonder how culture is affected by stuff like this. You don't hear it so much anymore. But only a few years ago, the culture war stuff. People say, oh, why do you talk about that stuff? I don't care about that stuff. There's real important things to talk about. Okay. Sure. But it's little things like this. Little grains of sand make a heap. Little grains of sand.
They made pinatas of Bob and I dressed as Klansmen.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Slow down here. You're telling me that they made pinatas of you.
I love that she had the same reaction that I did.
In effigy, and they beat them.
With bats.
John Thompson did with a stick.
In our driveway. This is the man running to be a state representative in Minnesota.
In your driveway.
Overwhelmingly elected.
In their driveway. If you're just a wacky protester, all right, whatever. You do your weird shit, whatever. You're running for office? And this is what you're doing? Society is crumbling.
Bro, if anybody who support his racist ass. Bob Pro.
That's my whole platform. I don't know nothing about nothing, but I don't like that guy because of things. So vote for me.
I said it. I mean, it was horrendous, absolutely awful. And I got in trouble for pitching that as a story. We had reporters tweeting their alliance with Black Lives Matter using that hashtag after this movement, talking about it's okay to align yourself with this group and supporting Black Lives Matter.
Is it though?
And that was fine, but I was no longer wanted there, and that was pretty clear.
What was the process of making these?
I mean, if you've ever been so angry you want to make a piñata, that's...
No, I have never been so angry. I wanted to make a piñata. Piñatas are celebratory things. So if I'm angry, I'm probably going to do anything else. But hey.
Where I'm at. Just f*** them. Just absolutely f*** them. That's where I'm at.
So when did you make the decision to leave?
My contract was up in January of this last year, and I've been blackballed in the market.
If I can interject,
If I can interject. Bite up!
Were successful in destroying her career because she had a wonderful career trajectory going. She's a small town Worthington, Minnesota local. She was a local favorite. She was the primary fill-in for the two main anchors. She had a weekend anchor. The ratings that they had were huge. Everybody loved her. And then all of a sudden this twist. So I watched it destroy her and destroy her career, something that she's very good at and a lot better, quite frankly, than some of her competitors or her replacements.
Shots fired! It says, during the summer of 2020, Black Lives Matter rioters caused over $1 billion in damages to small business owners. Among those businesses was the popular celebrity-frequented boutique, Kitson.
My name is Fraser Ross, and I own retail stores in Los Angeles, California.
During the George Floyd protests that swept the nation, what happened?
We were looted for over $400,000 worth of merchandise.
Wow.
It was a disaster.
You then went online, and what did you observe that you thought was out of the ordinary?
Chrissy Teigen had posted on her Instagram, I'll help the protesters get out of jail.
Chrissy Teigen tweeting, in celebration of whatever the fuck MAGA night is, I'm committed to donating $100,000 to the bailouts of protesters across the country. Bigger issues, you say? Bigger issues, you say? Sure about that? This seems like pretty big deal.
Then she said, well, let me up it to another 100,000. Now, when you
wonderful.
have approximately 30 million followers at the time, you can start a movement and people say, oh, well, she's going to bail me out and everything. And then, you've got celebrities like Jennifer Garner giving 4 hearts to that post. Well, they all live in gated communities and it's not their stuff being destroyed.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. Of course, those with private security and who live in gated communities have no problem with people going out and destroying things because it's not their things that are getting destroyed. We saw a perfect example of this hypocrisy with the Martha's Vineyard stunt. That, of course, all the liberal elites of, we're a sanctuary city, we have to care about people. They're seeking asylum. We have to. Okay, you take them. Well, we can't. We can't handle 50 people. Like 50? 50. 50? I don't think you know what you're talking about then. Mike says they're doing the same thing right now with the guy who went to Pelosi's house, making them out to be a right winger. Yep. And I mean, I saw the report of the neighbor saying he had a Black Lives Matter thing in his window, that he had an LGBTQ whatever flag, and that it's most likely a lot more to do with the fact that they're crazy drug addict people than anything political. But that won't stop them. Won't stop them.
And you had just been looted.
Yeah, I went online and posted an Instagram of the store being looted, and I tagged, thanks, Chrissy. She wrote under this post, well, like anyone's really shopped there for 10 years.
So her instinct.
Damn. So she's putting out all this money, saying, hey, if you go do this, I will give you money. You have no consequences. Then somewhere where she shops, or I don't know if he said she shops there, but, celebrities shop there. He knows her enough to message her. Shows what happened. And gives a quippy insult? Well, nobody shops there anyway. All the more reason why this is bad. And people actually look at Chrissy Teigen. I don't know who, but people look at Chrissy Teigen as somebody who they aspire to be and listen to what she has to say. How is that okay? How is that okay? Oh, shit.
After seeing that your store had been actually looted.
Yeah.
Her response is, well, no one shops at your store anyway. So she was not sympathetic to the victim in the circumstance.
Not one bit. But Jen Atkins was actually worse.
Jen Atkins, she's a friend of Chrissy Teigen. You tagged her in this post because you sell her products. She comments on this.
Actually, why not? I think Jews are a better group than Christians because they kind of keep to themselves, and they their holy books say to continue questioning and not to proselytize.
Post as well.
Right.
Basically saying, use the shampoo to clean up the graffiti.
And my looting cream comes out in October.
So they're happy.
So again, somebody else is saying, my apologies, we won't be anymore. Use the shampoo. Use shampoo to clean up all the mess. I don't know who Jen Atkin is. What an awful person.
Having fun.
They're mocking the looting.
Right.
You should be
As posted
Atkins
saying that your store had been actually looted.
Yeah.
Her response is, well, no one shops at your store anyway. So she was not sympathetic to the victim in this circumstance.
Yeah, like everyone else has been doing for 10 years.
Not one bit. But Jen Atkins was actually worse.
Jen Atkins, she's a friend of Chrissy Teigen. You tagged her in this post because you sell her products. She comments on this post as well.
Right.
Basically saying, use the shampoo to clean up the graffiti.
And my looting cream comes out in October.
So they're having fun.
They're mocking the looting. Right. You should be in federal prison if you're inciting violence with that many people following you.
At this point, it says an influencer that Chrissy Teigen and Jen Atkin followed, named Dana Omari, chimed in accusing Frazier. I think that's the dude. Accusing the shop owner, accusing him of being a racist.
So Dana decides to jump in and call you and Kitson a racist.
So this whole thing, she wasn't, quote, asked about rioters and criminals. The tweet corrected her language and added criminals, implying protesters were criminals. No, but the looters were. So she hoped the money in response to the race... that doesn't make sense. And it's not illegal to donate money to a bailout fund. Get your facts straight, Frazier. And having a diverse staff doesn't make you any less racist or shitty. In fact, there's a whole news expose on how horribly you treated your employees. Good job trying to twist the words to fit your narrative. Your stance has been noted, and you'll continue to lose money even after we've all of this is over. Oh, that's these are our influencers. People barely can speak English.
This store because you were upset that your store was looted. This made you a racist.
Right.
So this was quite literally blaming the victim. Then what happened?
She sends a DM saying, well, before we get on the phone, you're going to have to apologize to Chrissy Teigen, and then I'll take down the post.
Dana Omari from her Instagram account wrote exactly this. You need to make a formal public apology for blaming a woman of color, she's referring to Chrissy Teigen, for your store being looted. And Chrissy needs to be named. In this apology, you should mention it was insensitive to place the blame on a single person, and that the true cause of the riots is the mishandling of police brutality toward George Floyd and the Black community as a whole.
I cannot imagine being this entitled. I cannot. She needs to be named. Like, who are you?
You should also say that while you are devastated by the looting of your store, you recognize it comes from a place of privilege to be concerned about replaceable items when others are protesting for their rights to live.
Say the thing. Say you agree. Bend the knee. Bend the knee. Oh, yes, Mike. In fact, it does sound a lot like religion. It sounds like leftism has become a godless religion. And so even though these people don't believe in something you would call a god, the thinking that they do to commit all of this stuff is the same exact logic that you use, even if it's just to be a good person. It's that same logic.
If you apologize, I will happily remove all posts concerning your store. How does that sound? So this blogger, just to recap, has essentially jumped in on behalf of Chrissy Teigen.
Right. So we got on the phone for 53 minutes. And most of the conversation was, you need to apologize to Chrissy Teigen. I said, I'm not apologizing to her. There's no reason to apologize to Chrissy Teigen. But what are you looking for? Are you looking for money? I was worried that how aggressive they were, and the looting was still approaching. And my main store, the value in that store is much greater than the store that got looted.
I'd be worried that, you know, the influencer people were going to say like, okay, well, you know, there's lots of things that is ripe for, okay, guys, there's a lot of minorities who own businesses. Let's go right to this dude's store because we know he's got money. We know that, you know, he treats his workers, so on and so forth. That could be bad.
Right. So because she's publicly posted your store as being owned by a racist concern that they're going to come loot you some more. Who was the check written out to?
Act Blue.
To Act Blue.
Right. Okay. Which is BLM.
Black Lives Matter. So she was basically saying, if you make a donation to Black Lives Matter,
I'll take down the post.
Okay.
And then after she got off the conversation with me, she texted me from a phone number. And if you don't make the donation, I'm going to repost this. I'm going to make another post, an unfortunate post that won't.
Says, we'll be in the, so he said, we'll be in the mail tomorrow, or if accountant can send it online, we'll let you know. Nice talking to you. Said, hi, Mr. Ross. She said, hi, Mr. Ross. I've gotten your check image. Please forward me the receipt from Black Lives Matter as soon as you get it. I'll check back to make sure. Remember, if you don't actually make the donation, I'll bring the post back from the archive and I'll do another post about this unfortunate situation. Thank you. Smiley face.
Be good.
So let me ask you a question. Chrissy Teigen, Jen Atkin, a blogger in which they both follow. Why do you think
you're not even cool enough to be named?
They felt the need to get involved on such a level and to be so supportive of the looting?
Well, I think there was a side that they felt that it would help them become relevant and hero.
Come on, guys. I'm not even at 5 likes. What are we doing? Can we like the video, please? Come on.
And everything.
Did Dana mention anything to you about Chrissy Teigen and her having a relationship?
Yes, she said Chrissy Teigen thanked me for what she did.
It sounds like blackmail because it is blackmail.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she thanked the blogger for calling you a racist.
Yes.
And I guess having an outrage mob descend on you online.
Yes.
Great people. So Candace reached out to Dana to get her side of the story. Dana claimed that she wanted Frazier to take down the post about Chrissy Teigen, but that he declined and offered on his own accord to donate to BLM instead. Lie detector determined that was a lie because we just saw the text message that said, if you don't, I'll do this. As Mike said, that is blackmail. When pressed to clarify her relationship with Chrissy Teigen, Dana declined to comment. I wonder why.
My name is Charles.
If you are just joining us, welcome to the party. Welcome. I'm your host, Lutch, a.k.a. The Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. We are watching the greatest lie ever sold, George Floyd, the Rise of the BLM, the Candace Owens Daily Wire documentary. I would love if you could hit the like button on your way in, because this shit ain't free. And it is for you, though.
I grew up in Kenya.
How long have you lived in Minneapolis?
I came to Minneapolis in May of 1997, so it's been 27
This is
years.
the president of the Unity Movement Institute.
What was this city before the George Floyd riots?
Well, it was just a typical Midwestern city with low crime and hardworking people, and we just lived here and enjoyed life.
Thank you for the likes, guys.
And then
Thank
things
you.
took a bit of a turn, and this is something different, would you say?
Well, what we saw was like a venting of anger. It was complete opposite of Minnesota Nice. And we saw anger, mayhem, looting, destruction of property, burning of police precincts, and it was completely
but mostly peaceful.
Foreign to me. I'm used to something like this in third world countries, but not in America, and quite honestly, not in Minnesota.
Not in Minnesota. This is something that I think I've never seen before in any city that I've lived in, at least. It says, you are now entering the free state of
Jesus.
George Floyd.
What?
What does that mean?
Hold up. I am not aware of this. The free state of George Floyd? Are you guys aware of this? Hold on, I gotta poll y'all. Did you know about the free state of George Floyd? That's crazy. If this is what I think it is, another Chaz, Chop, whatever, autonomous zone, that is crazy.
It means this is an autonomous zone, and it will operate.
How did I not know about this? That is so crazy.
Outside the laws of United States. And anything that happens here is run by a community, and they do whatever they want.
They do whatever they want. How is that allowed in the United States?
Good question.
The city of Minneapolis has been negotiating.
Negotiating with whom?
With the community.
Wow. So the
Sounds like Antifa. They're not a. It's just an idea. It's just an idea. Who is behind this? I'm racking my brain. You know, I tell you guys all the time, stop trying to win the argument and just have a conversation. I'm trying to win the argument. I'm trying to think of where this is going, but I have no clue.
The city is being held hostage by the community that is running the autonomous zone. Do I have that understood?
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we remember that it was like 36 people died in the Portland, what was it called? The Chaz, the something autonomous zone. I don't remember, but people died in there. And they act like these communists are ready to just, take over some land and then run it. But they still need all the infrastructure of the evil empire of America. It's ironic. Bannerot says, clearly, those that can never be mentioned, they who shall not be named. It's Voldemort back here.
So we are now entering a state where really anything goes, right?
This is
really sort of anything goes, right?
Well, I think anything goes here. We've seen death. We've seen a man shot right in front of us. We've seen a woman who was pregnant shot right in front of us.
No racist. Oh, and on back here it says no racist. Murderers, okay.
And right here,
No
we had a huge bus, like a school bus, and it was a clinic. It was a medical clinic, and the number one thing they were treating during the time
Drugs.
of the riots was gunshot wounds right here.
Gunshot wounds.
As I'm looking around, there's so many empty shops on the block, things that are boarded up. How does that make you feel to see that? Is there ever going to be life again on this street?
Well, I feel like
it legit looks like a ghost town. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a real ghost town. Obviously, I'm being a little bit I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I think it was called Calico. Calico, is that a thing? I don't remember exactly, but when I was younger, I was on a family vacation, and we went to an actual ghost town, and it's crazy. I don't understand exactly how this happened, but it's like a whole town picked up and left. If I remember correctly, it had something to do with like the gold rush and stuff. But like the infrastructure is there, but the people are not.
There has been a tremendous loss of the way of life here has changed. The economy, the destruction of businesses. Most of the businesses here that were destroyed, the insurance would not be able to cover that.
Right.
And so
that's a huge talking point. A huge talking point on the left about insurance. Oh, we're out here trying to protest for people's right to live, and you're worried about things? There's insurance. Okay, well, what had happened was insurance doesn't cover your entire town being burned down. So you spend your entire life savings to buy a storefront, whatever it is. Then, you're working, let's say 30 years. 30 years, you're plugging away. Small town, just shop owner. And then it gets burned down, and you get what? A check for 10 grand? Hey, we got Liberty Witcher in the building. Liberty Twitcher. Sorry about that. Welcome. Said, and insurance is merely spread risk. Society ends up paying. Exactly. Well said. Well said. Welcome, Liberty Twitcher. That's exactly what happens. Is that now because the insurance payments are so low, we are stuck in this limbo of, well, things need to be fixed. The government now has to come in, which is, of course, all taxpayer money. But there's not enough that it's going to be, pieced back together. So it's just losing on all ends. And how did that change the police at all? Made them worse by making all the good cops quit with all this defund the police stuff. But no, I don't think you achieved your goal there, guys. Divine says, Oatman, Arizona for a ghost town. Also check out Centralia, Pennsylvania. Vacated because they caught the coal veins on fire. Estimated to burn for the next few hundred years. Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Divine Round. Liberty Twitcher says, so yep, that's another part of it. And the insurance payments go up to cover the added cost. So now the people in the future who hopefully will never have to endure what we saw that summer, the summer of love, they are now having to be pay to be insured against something that should never happen and likely won't. I mean, unless things really, go off the deep end. I don't know. I'm a little bit white-pilled when it comes to that. I think things are starting to turn maybe kind of in a little bit back in the right direction, but who knows? And yeah, so that whole line about insurance is a non-starter. Non-starter.
It's a hard thing for people to rebuild themselves, especially after what they went through.
It almost seems like a vigil is being kept here.
Well, this is pretty much the body of George Floyd. This is where he lay dead and breathed his last right here.
Who said it before? Who said it before? That this is like a religion. Hey, we got WDMA Warrior, not a fan of Candace Owens. All right. Well, welcome. Glad you're here. Hopefully you can maybe run some interference. And if she's saying some stuff that's not kosher, then you can let us know. But yeah, whoever was Mike was talking about how this is like a religion. Like this looks like a church.
Right.
It looks.
And so the idea is that no one should enter. This is sort of a sacred place. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. It says this is a sacred space.
Yeah, you can see this. It's pretty much a holy ground.
Now, you're a pastor, so I just wanted to ask you, how does it make you feel, right? Knowing obviously who George Floyd was and how he lived his life, to see that this has been transformed into a holy ground, you know, as if this is where Jesus Christ took his last breath.
Well, we have better people to follow.
Boom. Right there. That's all you need. We have better people to follow. Regardless of what you think of the situation, what you think of George Floyd, what you think of Chauvin, what you think of the laws, what you think of drugs, regardless, we have better people to follow. We have better people to follow, and we get this. Do better. Do better.
Of course, Jesus Christ, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who have lived their lives and epitomized what we would like to emulate.
Right, right. And how does it make you feel when you hear leaders, you know, saying that the death of George Floyd is more significant than Martin Luther King?
Wow.
It's outrageous.
It is outrageous. Especially in a minority community, a black community, where literally the civil rights movement was I just don't get it. It's so easy for people to be just swayed by the media. They're told that George Floyd is a hero. Okay. It makes sense now how religion is something that's spread far and wide. Because people will believe anything. People will believe anything. Larry Twitcher said, what's outrageous isn't that the leaders say that, but exactly, but that the people actually accept such stupid notions. On point, Liberty Twitcher. You are on point. That's exactly it. Because you're always going to have people who are going to try to use a message of some sort to pull people in. And all you need to be, you need to be good at talking, and that's about it. You don't need to have good ideas. You just need to be charismatic. And you'll bring people in. It's sad and it's pathetic that people are not better at just thinking. Just thinking. That's all that I'm asking. Is before you dedicate your entire life and identity to anything, whether it's religion, politics, or otherwise, just take a moment, look in the mirror, and say, is this a good idea? If you still think so, go for it. But at least take that break and think. Liberty Twitcher says, but there was a time when you needed to have good ideas to be taken seriously. Those times are gone, especially in America. Well said, guys. Well said. Unfortunately, but well said.
I guess I would have assumed when Black Lives Matter announced that they raised over $90 million, who knows how much over.
That's still bugging me out. The free state of George Floyd. That is crazy. How is there not I mean, I guess if they're not actually doing anything wrong, it's just kind of more creepy than anything else. But like I said, if there's people dying, where is the National Guard or somebody to get in here and fix this? The problem is it's already so far down the shitter that it's like, okay, what exactly would you like us to do here? This is America. And this is happening. Why? Because of the media. Because of the media and their incessant need to drive fear and victimization.
On the back of the George Floyd riots and the sprees. Where is that money?
I don't know. It's not here.
It's not here.
Everything looks worse than it was.
Is it possible that Black America was sort of used as a front, and the emotions that Black America was feeling was used as a front? And
No. Are you telling me? Are you telling me that corporations and politicians would use a demographic of person to sell their services, products, and ideas, but not actually care about that demographic of people? No, that can't happen.
this money went probably maybe not to Black people at all, anywhere in the world.
So many elements of people who took advantage of the death of George Floyd to stir up the emotions for political gain, for financial gain, and to propagate division, because some of these organizations that raise money, they can only get money if they propagate hatred and division. They are not helping the community. They are helping themselves.
Rise of Black Lives Matter. So the organization was founded in 2013 by 3 female activists during the Trayvon Martin incident in 2012. Yeah, it was a down payment for a mansion. Warrior says, fuck BLM as an organization. Tone Talks already exposed them. Oh, plenty of people have exposed them. But we are going to go with this one for now. But happy to look at more. Ask BLM how much money they sent to George Floyd. I'm going to take a wild guess. And goose egg. Just guessing.
Where have you seen that money impacted throughout the city?
Democratic politics. I mean, that's...
We shared this place, right? And we went half on everything, you know, the rent, light, gas. So when it happened to Floyd, everything fell back on me and Alvin. So
You got a car out there, it's just sitting there. We couldn't do nothing with it because it's eating the title. They won't take it or move it.
It is just shocking to me because of how much money was raised to think that where he lived, the bills weren't being covered.
Not even enough to tow a car. Good question. Where did BLM even cover his funeral? Probably not. Or Trayvon Martin. Or Ahmaud Arbery. Or Philando Castillo. Any of these people. Where did the money go?
So Black Lives Matter released their 990 IRS filings. And of course, I wanted to jump right into it and find out exactly what happened to the approximate $80 million that was raised by them between July 1st of 2020 and June 30th, 2021. Okay, Vivek, so during the George Floyd death and the aftermath, you were in Silicon Valley, is that correct?
Yeah, I was running a biotech company, actually, and I was CEO at the time, that's right.
What was the corporate reaction in Silicon Valley?
It was a pledge of allegiance to one cause, to turn this man, who had died in a tragic death, no doubt, into some type of new modern messiah figure. And I thought that the religious quality of every...
This is an interesting comment. Divine Route says, only race to ever care for the black race is the white man. Other races are way more open about their distaste. That's a very controversial statement. But at the end of the day, if we're talking about groups of people, I don't know how you disagree with this. Now, it makes sense. But when do you ever hear this articulated? The only race to ever care for the black race is the white man. I wouldn't say the white man. I would say the white race. But they need an enemy. They need an enemy. Yep. I called that one out before. Beta! Warrior says, Candace Owens only jumping on this because they've already been exposed. Byron says, Trayvon's real girlfriend was an eye-opener. I'm not familiar. What was good with his real girlfriend? I'm just going to back this up.
You were in Silicon Valley, is that correct?
Yeah, I was running a biotech company, actually, and I was CEO at the time. That's right.
What was the corporate reaction in Silicon Valley?
It was a pledge of allegiance to one cause, to turn this man, who had died in a tragic death, no doubt, into some type of new modern messiah figure. And I thought that the religious quality of every company bending the knee was a bit odd. And I was actually pretty keen on making sure that I didn't lie to my employees, that I didn't tell them something that I didn't believe about this. I sent an employee all email. And I said, look, I understand there's racial riots across the country, or there's unrest across the country. I hope everybody's safe. Let us know if you need us to support you. That was about it.
No, you were right the first time. Riots. You can call them riots. When they're riots, you can call them riots.
And I remembered the reaction that I got, that somehow that failed to meet the moment because I didn't recite the same ritual incantation that every other CEO was pledging allegiance to across the country, a corporate statement made by the same PR firm that effectively ended in Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been sort of investigating throughout this documentary, where did the money go that was given to Black Lives Matter? We never even really got a full answer of how much money was given.
I often say that BLM now stands for Buy Lavish Mansions, because that's what BLM does. If you saw in recent weeks, there was a person who was effectively working for BLM that personally purchased a mansion, and she pays $3 million for it. Within days, like I think it's 48 hours later, flips that to the BLM organization, who pays nearly $6 million for that same house, booking a personal profit to the person who actually bought it. So that's a self-dealing transaction that enriches personally somebody who's working for Black Lives Matter. Why is BLM buying big lavish mansions in the first place?
Who is surprised? Hey, we got Dan G in the building. Welcome, Dan G. Said LOL buy lavish mansions. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to the party. Glad you are here. We're just going through the greatest lie ever sold, George Floyd and the rise of BLM. Environment said the heavyset girl was not Trayvon. I don't have the facts of every black person that was killed at the hands of the police off the top of my head. You're gonna have to maybe we'll talk about it on the panel, but I don't remember the Trayvon Martin thing well enough to differentiate this girlfriend versus that versus his sister versus his mom. There's just too much. But yeah, too much bullshit. Buy lavish mansions.
When their donors were understandably outraged by the luxurious purchase, Patrisse Cullors came forth and also admitted that she hired both her mother and her brother to work at the property.
I have a t-shirt that's a Batman t-shirt that I always used to wear to my serving my waiter jobs just because it was an easy costume. I was gonna wear it and then I didn't feel like changing, so I didn't. Sounds like a televangelist. Oh, don't we love those over here?
What sort of work, you ask? Well, Patrisse Cullors' brother, Paul Cullors, is a graffiti artist by trade. That's what he's done his entire life. He's done graffiti. Patrisse instead hired her brother to do security for her. She paid Paul $840,000. That's almost $1 million in just 1 year to her graffiti artist brother, his newly established security firm. Now, that makes her a great sister, but perhaps she's an even better baby mama because Patrisse also gave funding from Black Lives Matter to take care of the man who fathered her son. His name is Damon Turner, and he received $970,000 from BLM to his company, Trap Heels LLC, which purportedly provided live production and media.
So we're already nearing $2 million. $2 million. Half of that to security for a graffiti artist. and the other half to some dude. Mike wants to work for BLM. I mean, with that pay, $1 million a year? Come on, man. I'll be the biggest BLM advocate out
That
there.
makes Patrice a great sister, a wonderful baby mama, and
joking by the end.
Also, by the way, she's a fun mom because one of the events that Patrice organized at her BLM mansion was for her young son's birthday party. Nothing says taking on police brutality quite like hosting a birthday party for your young son in a Los Angeles mansion.
Well, we have to take our minds off of all the horrible things that are going on that we fight for every day.
Paid for by donors to the cause. Patrice likes parties, by the way, because she also threw a party there to celebrate the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And yeah, that's somewhat suspicious because what do Democrats have to do with Black Lives Matter? I think I'll just leave that question open-ended.
A good question. What do the Democrats have to do with BLM? Oh, they're working together and destroying the country so that they can keep the power as it all falls. Got it. Yeah, bought a mansion in that just means YouTube to me. Yeah, a YouTube neighborhood. That's all that means to me.
Also suspicious is the fact that Black Lives Matter designated a whopping $8 million to an out-of-country grant. What? I thought this charity was about addressing police brutality in the United States.
Well, but there's Black people all over the place, all over the world. Oh. I'd never heard that before. Okay, good to know. But yeah, North America, Sub-Saharan Africa, more North America. We got to help Black people from the American cops all over the world.
Apparently, to do that, you need to send $8 million to Toronto, Canada, to an organization named M4BJ. They purchased a $6.3 million, 10,000 square foot downtown property in Toronto. And I should also mention that M4BJ is run by Patrice's wife, Janaya Khan.
And it stands for Mouthful or Blowjob. I really, at the first time I heard her say that, I was really thinking it's something witty and smart, and that's the best I can come up with. I'm sorry, guys.
Yes, it is. She is the co-founder, believe it or not. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Bum, bum, bum.
Janaya Khan is gender non-conforming. These terms
Oh,
can be quite sensitive,
Jesus.
so let me just use photos to illustrate my point. Janaya used to look like this, and now she looks like this. And that information would be entirely irrelevant if it wasn't for the way that Patrice Cullors saw it fit to spend the rest of Black Lives Matter's money. Ready for some BLM pride? Well, according to their IRS form, $200,000 went to the Transgender Justice Funding Project. Another $200,000 went to the Transgender United Fund. Another $200,000 went to the Transgender Law Center. Another $200,000 went to Black Transgendered Media. Another $200,000 went to the Transgendered Variant and Intersex Justice Project. Another $200K went to the Transgendered District. By the way, if you're wondering what that is, it's purportedly going to be the all transgender district. And I guess that's really, really important for Black America advancement in society.
Holy shit. I was waiting for a point to stop. And now she's counted so many times, I don't even remember what I wanted to stop for. Over $1 million into the alphabet community. I wonder why. I wonder if there's some type of ideology that is meant to disrupt how we live. It's something to do with a guy named Mark. I don't really know. Divine Rod said, yes, there are Blacks everywhere in the world. Ask them how they feel about African Americans. Mike says, I have a friend that's actually from Africa. He says, Black people from America, this is Mike saying this, are the most racist to him. Yeah. Yep. Warren says, y'all should stop before I bring receipts to those claims and put y'all in check. I don't know what that means, but getting spicy. But yeah, all of this money, over $1 million into the Alphabet community. Why?
I guess, or whatever. Another $200K went to the St. James Infirmary. That organization, by the way, is for, according to their website, it's run by sex workers and is for them. Specifically, escorts, BDSM workers, strippers,
What are you talking about, Warrior?
Show workers, phone sex operators, and webcam performers. It was actually the St. James Infirmary that created the...
That's where we want that money going. This is what will help Black people not get killed by the police.
BDSM workers, strippers, peep show workers, phone sex operators, and webcam performers. It was actually the St. James Infirmary that created the transgendered district. So that's just an organization within another organization, which, by the way, you see a lot of when you go through these documents. So yeah, going to be apparently great big things involving sex workers in the future for Black America. In continuation, the center...
So according to Black Lives Matter, it's a good thing to plunge the Black community into debauchery and sex work. Okay, got it. Just wanted to make sure I understand their perspective.
For Halstead received $200,000 from Black Lives Matter. They are Chicago's community center dedicated to securing the health and well-being of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and queer people of Chicago. Similarly, we have the Audre Lorde Project, which received $200,000, and according to their website, they are a lesbian, gay, bisexual, two-spirit, trans, and gender non-conforming people of color community organizing center. Another $400,000 went to Transgender Advocates Knowledgeable Empowering, or TAKE, as it's known for short. The founder of that organization is a transgendered individual by the name of Darenicia Duncan Boyd. Darenicia is also the executive director of the Transgendered United Fund, which I mentioned earlier, which secured $200,000. So a total $600,000 of BLM money went to a transgendered woman named Darenicia Boyd, who is operating two charities. I found that piece to be very interesting. Here is Darenicia describing in a 2020 interview.
So just in case you're listening and you lost track, we are now at $2.2 million. And all of that money has gone to the Alphabet community.
How they were able to use that money that was received to the organization to purchase more real estate.
We're opening up a new resource center here, and the resource center is almost 3 times as big as our last space that we was in. So we have lots of space and lots of rooms for our clients to come in and enjoy.
I noticed that real estate seems to be a common theme amongst the...
Lots of space, all the space, $2.2 million worth of space.
These transgendered organizations. Remember, there's the first ever transgender district. And there are also a couple of houses that are named on their IRS documents. For example, an additional $200,000 was given to the House of Tulip. According to their website, the House of Tulip provides zero barrier housing to trans and gender non-conforming people. But the one that really stood out as the most nonsensical is the $200,000 that went to the Griffin Gracie Retreat and Educational Center, known as House of Gigi for short. According to that website, they provide services and resources that positively...
Let me guess. Has something to do with helping the Alphabet community and nothing to do with helping Black people.
Impact the lives, history, and visibility of transgender, gender questioning, and gender non-conforming persons. They admit that they purchased a property in Little Rock, Arkansas back in 2019, and that property was supposed to serve as an oasis and a retreat for transgendered person, but they admit, also on the website, that they actually never held such a retreat. First, because their founder had a stroke and was recovering, and then it was COVID-19, so they still couldn't host a retreat. And despite having never hosted a retreat at this amazing oasis property that they purchased, in 2021, they announced that they purchased a second property next door to the first one. So, yeah. Now, all of the organizations that I just mentioned, none of them, not one, is up to date on filing a tax return with the IRS, which is required for charities. Because charities, remember, they don't pay taxes. In other words, I'm not able to tell you how any of these transgendered organizations spent the money that BLM poured into their organizations during the 2020 and 2021 tax year.
And all that means is that it's gone. It's gone. Just like how when you send your tax money into the government and it's just gone, yeah, you might see a new road, you might see some construction, you might see a building. You don't get a receipt. They just spend it. Same thing happens when these organizations get a donation. They didn't want any black. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Can we not have this conversation in the chat, guys? Maybe take that to Discord or something.
If you continue to look through BLM IRS docs, you'll notice that they gave millions of dollars to various Black Lives Matter organizations throughout America, or at least at first glance, it appears that they did. A closer look, you'll see that they actually dispersed that funding to organizations that were in care of Black Lives Matter. This means that actually another organization is accepting the donation on behalf of BLM. So I decided to investigate that further. I noticed.
Wait, does that mean they are sending out money and somebody else is receiving it and then that party is giving it out to wherever? I think that's what she's saying.
Just a really bizarre pattern. A lot of those organizations train activists. They train the youth to become activists in their communities. One organization even goes as far as bragging.
Look at this. Look, these are individual humans. Each one of these people are out in support of this organization that has been shown. Obviously, they didn't know at the time. Most of them, I would hope, didn't know at the time. They're just giving money away to things that are eroding American culture. It begs the question whether that was the a plan from the beginning. That they were just waiting for an incident with a black person, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have this group, and we're gonna do what we want to do, but we're just gonna call it Black Lives Matter. So we wait for the cops to kill a black guy. Nobody likes that. So we gin up hysteria, and then we can buy mansions.
On their website about their history of getting arrested, protesting, and they offer courses on various techniques like bird dogging. That's a technique that's used to confront
Never heard that before.
Politicians. I thought to myself, it's interesting because I kept hearing over and over again while filming this documentary that people felt as though the protesters that arrived throughout these cities weren't actually from the cities that they arrived in. They didn't know where they had come from. I heard buses. There was this idea that buses were showing up filled with protesters. It's a fair question then. Is it plausible that Patrice was giving money to groups that were creating protesters or training?
Again, did not even put that together. All this money that they're getting, now they're using it specifically for the protests. What they are protesting is to get more money for protests. I'm going to assume this isn't for me. But if it is, then please let me know what it is that I have said incorrectly. But I never even thought about that. I mean, you know, you hear about like, oh, George Soros funded this, that, and the other, and there. Oh, why was there a pallet of bricks left? You hear about stuff like that, but organizing this whole thing from the top down, that's quite a claim. That is quite a claim.
Activists, rather. I mean, why else would Patrice give millions of dollars to so many trained activists? I wanted to investigate that piece a little further, and so I made some phone calls. So I want to call some of these groups today, pretend that I want to give money to the organization, and see what I can find out about what they do. And I get the feeling that none of these multi-million-dollar organizations are going to pick up the phone.
We are not able to take your call. The Google subscriber you have called is not available.
No response.
You have the wrong number. Thanks, and goodbye.
What?
Please leave a message after the tone.
No one's available.
Your call cannot be completed as
Verizon Wireless.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available.
Google subscriber. So she's calling numbers for all these multi-million-dollar organizations. And it's not like one. It's not like two. None of them are answering the phone. It's not like they have Candace Owens' phone number and they're like, oh, it's her. We can't. And then Google Voice? I don't know. I don't have a business. Maybe Google Voice is used quite ubiquitously in the business world. But that's shady. That's shady. Only one of the organizations with BLM publicly donated. Take two. Only one of the organizations, to which BLM publicly donated, answered Candace's call. For legal reasons, we are not identifying the organization. Hey, we've got I am that I am in the building. Welcome. Says, why should they answer? They already got the millions. Boom! That's a good one. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They got the money already, so let's dip out. It's like the old carnival game. All right, let's see. So somebody answered the phone. Somebody answered. All right, let's get this. Get rid of this. All right. Hello, this is withheld.
Oh, hello, this is me. I am the co-coordinator of development and communications. Is the boots on the ground place, the place where the seeds are sown for the movement to continue to grow.
How are you guys involved actively, not just in, we want to know how you are actually active?
Yes, we are trainers, we are healers, we are artists, we are creators, but most importantly, we are on the front lines. We are fighting for significantly through education.
So, what would you say that you do here?
This is great. Obviously, we were, like I said, we gave millions and millions of dollars after the horrific killing of George Floyd. If we gave your organization $1 million and something like that happens, right? How are you getting involved?
In the past, have provided movement support and accompaniment on the front line at protests. We have supported bail funds. We have supported pop-up workshops. We are not only keeping people prepared by preparing their minds for the movement, but we're also putting them in community with spiritual workers and with other educators on the ground during those protest efforts. Along with made it significant just for the specific purpose of bailing out
We're going to run this back.
During the 2020 uprising.
That's so wonderful.
One of our economics and governance organizers who worked for was actually arrested in Kentucky as part of a protest, and we have been standing with her throughout that work and been showing up for court dates and packing the court and offering her legal support.
Packing the court.
That's what we want to see. That's what we're looking for. Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time. I hope you have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Woo! I wanted to let that play through, but let's go back and see what exactly did she say and break that down, because she just said a lot of shit. She just said a lot of stuff. I don't know if
$1 million and something like that happens,
okay.
Right?
So again, the framing is she's calling this multi-million-dollar organization that's supposed to be in working with Black Lives Matter, and she wants to donate, and she's asking where is the money going?
How are you getting involved?
In the past, have provided movement support and accompaniment on the front line at protests. We have supported bail funds. We have supported pop-up workshops.
So I was looking at your guys' comments. Hold on. Give me one. Take 3.
Involved.
In the past, have provided movement support and
so movement support and accompaniment
on the front line at protests. We have supported bail funds.
Movement and accompaniment on the front lines of protests. That means paying people to go to your protests.
We have supported pop-up workshops. We are not
pop-up workshops, meaning, hey, come to this thing and we will show you how to be a BLM rider.
Only keeping people prepared by preparing their minds for the movement, but we're also putting them in community with spiritual workers and with other educators on the ground during those protest efforts.
AKA propaganda and brainwashing.
Along with made it significant just for the specific purpose of bailing out protesters during the 2020. uprising.
That's so wonderful.
One of our economics and governance organizers who worked for was actually arrested in Kentucky as part of a protest, and we have been standing with her.
She's like, he got arrested. That is wonderful. Where it says, what people have came out and said that BLM paid their court costs. I'm sure the leaders will definitely be up there saying, "Oh yeah, all that money that went for us. We got a lot of legal fees now." Where are these people to back up their claims? They don't exist, unfortunately, as we are seeing here from yeah, as we're seeing here from your most hated person, Warrior, that she's exposing some shit here.
Throughout that work and been showing up for court dates and packing the court and offering her legal support. So
That's what we want to see. That's what we're looking for. Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time. I hope you have a good day.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like, totally, it's like the best thing that if it's like we can just get all the people who burn things down out of jail and all of the people who actually commit crimes to be not in jail, then I think we're good. Yep. BLM money given to black victims, 0. But if you're a gender bender, millions are on the table for you. If you're a graffiti artist, there's $1 million a year on the table for you.
Thank you so much. Training activists, making sure that people's minds are poisoned and that they know that they're supported through bailing out. We will bail you out. We got the money to bail you out. And that's kind of what this is all about.
Shout out to Mike. Guys, if you haven't liked the video, please do. So it says the largest, excuse me, the largest financial grant that Black Lives Matter made was to a foundation called Living Through Giving. The amount was $2.3
Now, the organization that received the biggest grant from Black Lives Matter, according to their filing, is an organization called Living Through Giving Foundation.
Why did they put that on the screen if she was just going to say it?
The Living Through Giving Foundation, per their mission statement, strives to connect people through organized acts of love. They run a program called #LunchBag. This program allegedly brings people together to create bagged lunches in which they write handwritten love notes. And then they distribute the bagged lunches to local communities. That sounds nice, right? I thought so too. I thought to myself, I want to attend one of these events. But when I went to their website, there were no upcoming events. And when I went to the website to explore past events and learn more about the original givers, I was met.
There was none. Let me guess. It's all bullshit.
With a coming soon page. So I wondered, who is the executive director of this organization that accepted $2.3 million from Black Lives Matter Global Foundation? Of course, when I went to the IRS website, they also had neglected to file an up-to-date return, but there was a name at least. And that name was AJ Reeland, listed as the executive director. AJ owns 3 coffee shops in California. You'd have to imagine my surprise, though, when I found an article about his coffee shop opening in 2019, and buried within the piece was a picture of none other than Patrisse Cullors, sitting there with her friends having coffee. In 2019, meaning Patrisse Cullors had a relationship with AJ Reeland that predates the George Floyd protests. So exactly why did she transfer BLM money to her old friend AJ via his charity that is nothing more than really a splash page with no upcoming events? Is she a part owner of those coffee shops? Is she an investor? I will leave that as the $2.3 million question. What I can say for certain is that you don't just send your non-black friend $2.3 million just because. Perhaps most...
What? You don't send your non-black friend? I don't send any non-black, Asian, otherwise. I'm not sending anybody $2 million. That was a weird comment. I don't like how she said that. But yeah, very weird. Very, very weird. Myron said, how sweet. PB&J's for everybody. Yeah, right? Yeah, I just... like I said, sounds like the Cybertruck rollout. Where is it? Where is it? It's coming. Next year. Maybe. It's coming the same year as Winds of Winter.
Hilariously, you'll recall that the founders of Black Lives Matter pride themselves on being abolitionists. They want to abolish the old systems of white supremacy, the systems which keep Black America away from garnering our true generational wealth and financial freedom in this horrible country.
She's got that down. She's got that down. It's so funny how predictable these people are. Like, maybe I'm biased, but I don't really think that there is a ubiquitous, what's the word? Just like a through line message that anybody who's not in the woke leftist camp, like where else does that exist? Where you can just list off, spout bullshit. And it's obviously ironic coming out of your mouth, but there's other people out there who actually think this way and say these things. Let's listen to that again.
Perhaps most hilariously, you'll recall that the founders of Black Lives Matter pride themselves on being abolitionists. They want to abolish the old systems of white supremacy, the systems which keep Black America away from garnering our true generational wealth and financial freedom in this horrible country, which makes it somewhat odd that they invested $32 million into the stock market. Wall Street. What a...
Oh, damn. Oh, damn. $32 million. Now, there absolutely is a way for taking money for charity and putting it into the stock market not being a shady thing. But who voted on that? Who decided that? Which stocks? If the rest of what we've watched so far is any indication, I'm going to guess that just one person picked what this portfolio looks like. Let's see if I'm right.
Great way to abolish the system of white supremacy. Invest in stocks. I think that the IRS stocks in the end lead to more questions than they do answers. And if you were an individual who gave to this organization, a well-meaning individual who gave because you thought it was going to help Black America, then you should get answers to those questions.
LA.
So we are headed to Laurel Canyon. We've yet to see any Black people in this neighborhood. There were a ton of cyclists coming through. Not that that's an issue, but it just seems a bit strange because the Black Lives Matter messaging, of course, has been that Black people cannot be safe in white spaces. So it's an unusual decision to buy a home in a neighborhood that doesn't have any Black faces and is surrounded by what we've been told are violent white people that don't want to see Black Americans become better. So hopefully...
Well, they're just going into the belly of the beast. That's what they're doing, Candace. What you don't get is that they're so committed to their whatever that they're willing to go into the belly of the beast and buy one of these mansions and live amongst the evil white man. For you. They're doing it for you. You don't get that? Oh, honey. It's for you.
As we are heading out to the house, we'll be able to speak to somebody on the property. Is this a creative space for Black Americans? Why did we purchase this property with the money that was raised?
Yo, Divine Ron is on point today. Oh, man. Hashtag too soon. Said hopefully Paul, Sexhammer Pelosi, was their stock advisor. Hopefully. Even if he was, is that... And that's another good point. I was going to go off on a little tangent that wasn't really fully formed. So thank you for this. Laurel Canyon is a hotbed of CIA activities. Charles Manson, CIA.
Based on the faces of so many dead Black people. I'm assuming it's going to be a welcoming environment. We'll see. So there's definitely somebody home. Hello. I was just looking to speak to whoever is at this property. Sir? Hello?
Guys, really quick, please. It would help me out so much. Please, it's so free. It's super free. Just scroll down a little bit, hit that like button, and it will make my day. It is the greatest thing that will help this into the algorithm. Please, guys, we got to get this going. Thank you so much.
I don't know if he's going to get someone. I see a very cute German Shepherd, it looks like.
This morning, I woke up to Candace Owens being outside of my house with a news crew.
Looks to be...
So what does this say? Patrice? Osepe? Or whatever. It says, I'm working to be in right relationship? Maybe? I'm working to be in the right relationship with Black people and Black movement. And while I'm doing that, right-wing pundits and media are attacking and harassing me and my family. Today, Candace Owens showed up to my personal property demanding I come outside. While she is black and she is While she is black, she's advancing a right-wing agenda. Oops, that's racist. She is dangerous and her followers are dangerous. This is bigger than me. I'm not making any jokes. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. That's right, nothing bigger than you. I wasn't going to say it, but you had to say it 3 times. We have to see what the fuck they are doing, and we must challenge it. There's the backlash against our movement is whatever, and then it doesn't continue. So Divine Rod says Dave McGowan's book on the fake hippie movement in the 60s covers this. Interesting. You have to check that out. Check that out. All right, let's back this up.
Bird, it looks like.
So again, so I'm going to back it up a couple more seconds. And the post said that she was harassed, that she was harassed by right-wing media, and that she was demanded to come outside. Let's get the real story.
Definitely somebody home. Hello. I was just looking to speak to whoever is at this property.
How dare you?
Hello? I don't know if he's going to get someone. I see a very cute German Shepherd, it looks like.
This morning, I woke up.
Oh my God.
Owens.
She said your German Shepherd was cute. Oh my God.
Being outside of my house with a news crew.
Looks to be maybe in his mid-40s, white male, black hat, and he is, whoever he spoke to on the phone has instructed him to record us, which is strange because we just want to talk. And what I see in the driveway are 2 cars and a sign that says you are exactly where you are supposed to be.
She was demanding that I come outside.
Hi.
What she do?
Hello. Hi, you're welcome to record. I just want to talk. Are you instructed not to speak to anybody? We're not trying to harass you. We'll gladly leave. We're just wondering if we can speak to anybody.
Wait, I thought she said she was harassed, but Candace is saying that she's not trying to harass anybody. So either that our chick was lying, or no, I guess she was lying.
Sorry, what was that? Okay, I just thought this was a house where Black Lives Matter.
It's unacceptable and it's dangerous.
She said, I thought this was a house where Black Lives Matter. I love that she has that card to play. It's yeah, exactly. It's if you don't abuse it, because I got it too. I'm not white, so I tend to fall on the not overtly just going with the black narrative. It's very easy for somebody to want to call me a racist, but because I'm not white, I have a little bit of that shield. If I was being overtly racist, then it would be very easy to just call me out as a racist. But because my skin is not white, and you have to actually listen to my ideas, sucks to suck, liberals. I Am That I Am said, Colors gave a boatload of cash to her lesbian lover for lesbians causes. Colors and her lover. I mean, I don't really have a problem with the lesbian part. Just the fact that they're stealing money is really what I'm concerned about.
That anybody, any stranger, come outside of my house.
You're just trying to figure out if this house is actually being used for Black people in a creative space at all, and it doesn't seem that way.
What happened this morning is not safety.
Yeah, that's true. I follow the white patriarchy by having a time that my show starts, wanting to work for money, and I'm sorry. I am sorry that I'm so racist. I'm sorry. I wish I could do better. It's just something inside of me, and I don't know if I can do any better. I'm trying.
Not what I deserve.
I didn't even know she was crying.
It's not what any of us deserve.
I can't see how this purchase helped Black lives anywhere in America. I can't even find a Black life on the property. The dog's not even Black. What's that?
And so they're literally trying to destroy us. They're trying to destroy me. They're trying to destroy the movement. And I just need us to be stronger.
Thank you, sir.
You would think that with stuff like this out there, with stuff like this documentary out there, where you can clearly see that she is not harassing anybody, she's being polite, and then that can be turned around into the Instagram video that we saw. That people don't think that this happens. Why do you believe every little thing that somebody says, I'm a victim? Oh, you must be a victim. Let's give you attention and money. And somebody's like, I was a victim too. Oh, let's give you attention and money. Someone's like, y'all serious? I was a victim too. Oh, let's give you attention and money. Then you get someone say, I was a victim too. Let's give them attention and money. I am says, fun fact, the mansion is in a white neighborhood. Yep, we went over how she is surrounded by all these evil white racist killers. Being white is not a superpower as far as saying what you want. Word up. Oh, I'm clean, baby. Yeah.
Have a great day. What could be more?
Can we just? I'm sorry. Can we just watch that one more time without interruption? That's hilarious. How let's even go back to the part where she was talking about
not be safe in white spaces. So it's an unusual decision to buy a home in a neighborhood that doesn't have any Black faces and is surrounded by what we've been told are violent white people that don't want to see Black Americans become better. So the money that was raised on the faces of so many dead Black people, I'm assuming it's going to be a welcoming environment. Sir? Hello? I don't know if he's going to get someone. I see a very cute German Shepherd, it looks like.
This morning, I woke up to Candace Owens being outside of my house with a news crew.
Looks to be maybe in his mid-40s, white male, black hat, and he is, whoever he spoke to on the phone has instructed.
Perfect juxtaposition of like what actually happened.
To report us, which is strange because we just want
to talk. And the victimization.
What I see in the driveway are 2 cars and a sign that says you are exactly where you are supposed to be.
And if I'm counting correctly, she's got 2 cameras, a boom guy, and a security guy. Maybe a driver in the car. That's not a lot of people. And you live in a nice neighborhood. Is it because she was Black?
He was demanding that I come outside.
Hi. Hello.
Awful demand.
Hi, you're welcome to record. I just want to talk. Are you instructed not to speak to anybody? We're not trying to harass you. We'll gladly leave. We're just wondering if we can speak to anybody. Sorry, what was that?
Bye-bye.
Okay, I just thought this was a house where Black Lives Matter.
It's unacceptable and it's dangerous that anybody, any stranger, come outside of my house.
You're just trying to figure out if this house is actually being used for Black people in a creative space at all, and it doesn't seem that way.
What happened this morning is not safety. It's not what I deserve. It's not what any of us deserve.
I can't.
I stole billions of dollars, and I had somebody with a camera not even get past my gated door.
See how this purchase helped Black lives anywhere in America. I can't even find a Black life on the property. The dog's not even Black. So what's that?
So what you're saying is that wall kept her out. Okay, fair enough.
So they're literally trying to destroy us. They're trying to destroy me. They're trying to destroy the movement. And I just need us to be stronger.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Oh my God, that was the worst.
What could be more emblematic of Black Lives Matter than that? Playing the victim to the public, hoping that you can get sympathy, and perhaps that sympathy will transform into dollars. And of course, after we exposed that lie, she subsequently wipes her Instagram and says that she needs a mental break and needs to reevaluate stuff.
Got him! Oh, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. You got caught in the lie, so you just wipe your profile. Never happened. Never happened. I didn't know about it. I guarantee you most of the people who were looking into that incident, if you can call it that, are not thinking about it. Another win for Black Lives Matter. Mike says, funny, 2 people and a camera guy, and she sent hundreds or thousands of people to others' house. Yeah, that's a great point. How did I miss that? That's a great fucking point, Mike. Fantastic point. She got a handful of people outside, and she's like, this is not safe. They're literally trying to kill me. While you're literally sending people out to riot. I mean, it's poetic. It's poetic in its irony. Karma is a mirror. It is poetic in its irony. Let's see. She's got these. So it says, turning back to these as I move through a process of reflecting, healing, learning, and growing with my community. More to come. It says the 12 steps. 1, courageous conversations. 2, respond versus react. 3, nothing is fixed except your organization. 4, say yes to imagination. I imagine I can steal all of this money based on using dead Black people. 5, forgive actively, not passively. 6, allow yourself to feel. 7, commit to not harming or abusing others. Well, you fucked that one up. 8, practice accountability. Practice accountability. Practice accountability. 9, embraced non-reformist reform. Sounds like reform with extra steps. What is non-reformist reform? 10 is build community. 11, which only on one of the ones did she put, there's, holy fuck, there's 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones, 6 ones on this piece of paper. And only 2 of them have the squigglies. Just a line. Just a line. Even in the same number, she wrote 11. She did 1 with the curly Q, and then just a line. And then 12, she just did a line. If that's not the sign of a psychopath, I don't know what is.
And what I'm hoping is that by the end of this, they'll wipe the entire organization and charity, because it is not what it seems. The real story is a story of addiction. That's it. That's actually a story that could have brought people together globally. This was a man that...
Yes. Yes. This could have been. It could have been a story about addiction. It could have been a story about poverty. It could have even been a story about police. In a way, victimize isn't even the right word. But just took advantage of so many people, whether it was taking their money, whether it was convincing them as white people that they were inherently bad people because of the color of their skin, whether it was just everything. There's so much damage done For what? For $8 million.
Was high on drugs and went into a store with counterfeit bills. He sat in a car with his dealer. Obviously, they had drugs on them. Drugs were found on them. And I believe that in his final moments, when the police arrived, he ingested a lethal amount of drugs. And unfortunately, the paramedics and the medical attention that this person would have needed in the immediate never happened, never transpired. And it is a story of a man who overdosed in the end.
So it says, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. They control the minds of the masses. Another Malcolm X quote there.
The media is your enemy.
So
that is what I will
fentanyl
say.
kills? Yep. Indeed it does. Have you not looked at the toxicology report, friend? I mean, it's in this video. Did we not? We had the oh, I don't have a thing. We had the doctor who said it was a lethal dose. We had the actual toxicology report. You can find it. I mean, no, let me. There we go. Fentanyl 5.6 nanograms per milliliter. Fentanyl 11 nanograms per milliliter. Methamphetamine 19 nanograms per milliliter. Fentanyl lethal dose. So the lethal dose, I don't know why it didn't just give me a fucking number. Looking for facts that are widely known because somebody doesn't want to do their own research. So we're stopping the show to do it for you. All right. Well, I can't find exactly how much is considered an overdose. But as you can see here, the toxicology report has exactly what you're asking for. I mean, it's all there. It's all there. It seems that George knew how to party. I am going hard. So I guess he's sober these days. I guess he is. Warrior said fentanyl is lethal to the touch, so how could he be alive? There's something, bro. I'm not. I can't derail an entire show to teach you about drugs. Fentanyl can be lethal to the touch, but if it is in another pill, again, as was found in the squad car, they mix it with shit. This is not new. This isn't news, whether regarding George Floyd or not. Just strictly speaking of fentanyl, it's been on the streets for years. Apparently you don't, dude. Apparently you don't. And exactly, it comes in very small doses, and then is mixed with a much larger batch of something, often liquid. And so when it's liquefied, there we go, and reintroduced, then it gets diluted among the other drugs. Like, do you think I'm making up that like fentanyl is in drugs? Like this, again, this isn't news. Like, people know about fentanyl. It's a thing. Like, I mean, maybe you just heard of it. No, fucking professional. That's called a speedball. When you can do, your tolerance is so high that you need some meth you can take so much fentanyl that you need the fentanyl. This is, again, tell me you don't know anything about drugs without telling me you don't know anything about drugs. Moving on. You're just wrong, bro. You're just you're wrong.
I believe that from the bottom of my heart after examining every corner of this case. The media scared the jury.
There it is! There it is! Oh, man.
That is what I will say. And I believe that from the bottom of my heart after examining every corner of this case. The media scared.
Talk about memorable images. Fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. Never will I forget this image. This was a red pill moment. This is the news. It was the news.
The jury, the media scared even politicians into agreeing in lockstep. There's no other way to examine the media but to recognize that they were the enemy. And they're not going to stop being the enemy.
Yup.
People were deluded and people were lied to, and people should be angry. People should be rightfully angry that they acted the part of a marketing agency for what, in my opinion, is a complete fraud, a fraudulent organization that uses black emotion and black pain to extort dollars from white America. That's what happened.
You tried.
You were all lied to. That's the truth.
Boom. George Floyd's roommates still have not received any financial support from Black Lives Matter. Candace personally paid for a year of George Floyd's back rent, as well as a removal service to tow away George Floyd's abandoned vehicle. Oh, that was nice of her. Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison for the murder. On August 24, 2022, Derek Chauvin was transferred from Oak Park Heights to a medium security federal prison in Tucson, Arizona. George Floyd Square continues to be an autonomous zone. In 2020, Minneapolis saw a 58% increase in murder. Last year, the city recorded the highest number of homicides in over 20 years. Candace Owens in the Daily Wire would like to thank the many talented people who worked at... Yeah. Boom. Perfect. So, I'm... All right, let's do it. So, Warrior says, he was killed over passing a fake $20 bill. No, he was killed over resisting arrest. He was arrested for passing a fake $20 bill. Where was the drugs he ingested while he was with the officers? In his mouth. Hence, the pill that had meth and fentanyl and his saliva on it. In the squad car. As was mentioned many times, he was in the car with his drug dealer. So, since you know all about drugs, we know which person is going to have more of the drugs in that car. Right? Or if anything, then only what is being sold is going to be in that vehicle. And who's going to hold on to it? I am not saying cops don't plant drugs. I am certainly saying that cops don't plant drugs in your mouth and then take it out and put it on the ground. And then, according to you, since he's so aware and conscious, you didn't think he would say anything about them putting a drug in his mouth and then taking it out? This is silly. This is silly. This is what happens when you are stuck to, as Divine Right says, a popular narrative. You're stuck within your own ideas. And instead of trying to challenge that, to be sure, oh, I am right, because I just tried to be wrong, and I wasn't. You're just spinning your wheels. This is what Black Lives Matter has done. It would also be in Georgia's bloodstream. Yeah, as we brought up the toxicology report. Again, unless you think that's fake. I don't know. I don't know what else you want. So clearly, there was a lot in that documentary, but there was not a lot of controversy. I didn't hear any type of yeah, she went over his rap sheet, talked about all of that, but the fact is, one of the very first things, and I mentioned this, is that she went to go talk to George Floyd's roommates, the people he actually lived with, not the people who went on TV for fame and then never even went to his house. They didn't have to do that. So my only conclusion coming from that is that they must care to some degree about the truth. And I think when it comes to the Daily Wire, Black Lives Matter, then I think when it comes to truth and values that will make society better, certainly not going with Black Lives Matter. Never said he was an angel, but his actions don't support the toxicology report. Oh, so you mean putting a drug in your mouth doesn't support there being drugs in your system? I thought you said you knew a lot about drugs, dude. You don't. All right, finally. So I'm glad that we got through that. I think it was very important to see that millions and millions of dollars were pissed away because people like you, maybe not you personally, but people like you, were so easily taken in by a lie. And after that, we're unable to see the truth that was presented. Exactly. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So let's do a quick experiment. Okay. Warrior, did I or did I not just take a sip of alcohol? Show me the video. Do you see how dumb that argument is? You're really reaching, brother. And I'm just looking out for you. Honestly, slow your roll. Come across as somebody who knows something they clearly don't is not something that other people appreciate. It's okay to be misinformed. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have thought that something was the truth and then later realize that was not the truth. It's okay. But you have to be honest about it. And much like Black Lives Matter, they're not only wrong, they are dishonest. I think that much is very clear. So, we are going to head over to panel time. If there's anything that you guys want to say, I would love to hear it. So, unfortunately, because of the trolls, panel has moved over to Discord, but it's free. It is free. The link to the Discord is in the description. You just got to click that. It is free. That is where I will be right after this stream. Also in the description, as well as rolling across the bottom of the screen right now. You guys know we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're going to get there by the end of the year. I think we can do it. But I need your help. And until then, if you want to help me out, you could definitely hit the Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all that good stuff. The Indian Jesus. But you don't have to do that. Sitting here, watching me, chatting with me. That's all I really need from you guys. And you know what else? It is absolutely free to like, to comment, to subscribe, to share the video, to ring the bell. It is absolutely free. You know how those notifications are on YouTube, guys. It is absolutely free for you to take the URL of this video, plaster it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of the places. I need you guys to be the notification. And then we're going to have a great ass party. So we got a couple last ones in here. Divine Rod says it's called Uptake Delay, hence why he died hours later. Yes. Saint George and Saint gotcha. They have sent race relations back half a century. Yep, I agree. Spending time with Jesus. Demiron, come on over to Discord, brother. Why you not coming over to the panels? That's where we are all heading. So I hope that I will see you there. Everybody else, I know I'll see you there. I am heading over there right now. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. I hope you enjoyed this party. I hope you learned a little something. I hope that whatever this was for you, you had a good time. And I hope you'll come back on the next one. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I am your host, Lutch, a.k.a. The Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Guys, meet me over in Discord right now. Don't forget, we've got the ranking competition starting at midnight Eastern time. So starting in 1 hour. I will see you over there, guys. Until next time, peace.